against most things that are coming up against it. So teams really need to pick that for their junglers.
Yeah. Now, it's time to move on into our next series of the day. And this is the one that I'm most excited for today. This one should be a final or a semi-final, honestly. It's Rogue going up against Tribe. Both of these two teams, big powerhouse teams in North America, but they've both historically been kind of snuffed by TSM and Cloud9. Now, Rogue took it to Cloud9 in a 2-1 final last week. We'll see whether they're going to be able to make it through to the finals again or whether Tribe is going to be their first roadblock. Obviously, both these teams with huge potential on the rosters and huge margins to hit this season, honestly, because the competition is very stiff here in North America. Let's start off by looking at Tribe. Now, this is the team that obviously last season was Immortals, did an amazing job, made it all the way to the finals of the championship straight out of challenges. This season, they've not been able to get the points on the board just yet, but it isn't too late.
Yeah, it's definitely not too late. Still fairly early in the season, but this is such an important one because both of these teams are obviously on the opposite side of the bracket from Cloud9. So that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid Cloud9 at all costs. Team Solo Mid also on the other side of the bracket. So the winner of this game has an extremely high chance of being able to get themselves into that second place conversation or retain that second place conversation by getting those extra bonus points for making it to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, this series to me is such a crucial one because both Tribe and Rogue are trying to establish themselves as a top 3 team behind, with C9 and TSM up there. So whoever wins this series is going to be sending a message and saying we are the top 3. We are perhaps even the top 2nd behind C9, and we're going to take this spot to go to the World Championships.
We'll have to see. The opponents in this one are going to be Rogue coming on through. Now, they made it all the way to the finals last week, managing to take it 2-1, or managing to go into it 2-1. Cloud9 taking the victory in the end, but definitely a huge showing from them. But one of the big things that I want to talk about when it comes to Rogue is upon the Originals hero pool. We've seen now more than one team starting to first pick this rhyme. This is something that Rogue were kind of the first ones to do it last week. Are we expecting that same thing to be happening from this team?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen now so many teams find strengths with this rhyme, and no one has been able to really heavily counter it and prevent these compositions from going through. So if you're Rogue, you absolutely take that rhyme first if it's available. But we did see last week teams start to ban the rhyme in the first rotation against them, specifically because they didn't have as much to fall back on as some of the other teams.
And that's when Pond the Original would pick Roll. Once it was answer your question, I still expect Rogue to try and prioritize getting Pond the Original on a very comfortable hero so that he can play confidently and play aggressive.
All right, well, our players to watch coming into this one, we actually have 2. It's going to be the matchup, between our 2 captains here. It's going to be Evil going up against his opponent, Max Green. Both of these guys exceptionally good captains. We saw Evil really strutting his stuff last week. Max Green is someone we know historically as an exceptional captain. He's yet to really prove himself coming into this season specifically, though.
Yeah, it's you can see it on the stats, fairly similar. A few more assists per game for Max Green, but a better KDA for Evil. And it just goes to show the difference in play styles for these two teams. Immortals are so much about fighting. They want to get as many fights in. They want to just win by beating you in a team fight, whereas the side of Rogue, they're a little bit more objective and macro focused of just trying to rotate around the map, keep themselves alive, and just take down turrets.
That's very true. Rogue so far has been playing very methodically, and they've been taking it slow and steady whenever they got an advantage to try and snowball and close out. Evil versus Max Green. This is a matchup that I'm very excited for. These are definitely 2 of the top North American, if not the top captains in the entire world for Vainglory, so it's a very exciting one.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible to watch this one. It's time to talk about the draft, though, coming into this series. Obviously, we've already talked about Pond the Original, and because Pond the Original is in this game for both teams, I kind of expect the jungle pools to be a focus when it comes to the picks and bans, especially early on in the draft, which is kind of different to what we've seen from the majority of other teams. It's mostly about the carries and the captains for everyone else. Are we going to see these jungle bans? Are we going to see Pon and T-Tigers both kind of battling for the few picks available?
I don't know if they're going to be battling for the few picks available because they both have very different hero pools. Obviously, Pon the Original, Rhyme, Kroll, things of that nature. But T-Tigers, it's about the playmakers. You want to see T-Tigers on a playmaking hero because when he goes for these more utility type heroes, it just doesn't really work out for the team because that's such a strength of Immortals. I mentioned the team fighting. That's how they want to win games. And if you take T-Tigers off of an engaging playmaking hero, all of a sudden their team fighting is not as good.
All right, well, we're into the draft for this one. It's going to be Catherine Vanderway. Rogue not having a single moment for Weapon Power Petal. It's removed from the table. Tribe going to start things off with a pickup of Kestrel, likely for Dienzio.
The Kestrel pick, that's very interesting to me because I was about to say that Rogue has very specific patterns when it comes to their draft. Patterns that can be recognized and abused, especially with Hammy's hero pool. I talked about it last weekend on the show. I'm going to talk about it again. He played Scarf, Kestrel, and Jewel. These are his top 3 heroes. If he doesn't get one of these 3 heroes, he doesn't perform as strongly. The Rhyme comes through for Rogue. It's a very expected pick. We talked about it. Then the Cruel pick ban follows. It's a very strong pick already on Pod, the original, that I expect him to play very aggressive. The Jewel ban comes out though, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, denying Hammy his picks.
Not only denying Hammy his picks by banning the Jewel and taking the Kestrel, but Kestrel has been, at least thus far today, the strongest matchups against Rhyme have had a Kestrel on the other side. The one game where it was beaten earlier today in Europe, Kestrel was on the team. The best showing were Gangstars against Team Solomid when the game was extremely close. They had a Kestrel. Kestrel, I think, is one of the answers to a Rhyme. It's just a matter of executing a little bit better and finding something else to pair with it in order to try and make it a full counter.
Tribe's draft so far is incredibly strong, and it's really easy to go unnoticed. The Kestrel pick into the Jewel ban is taking Hammy's top 2 weapon power picks away from him, and when he doesn't have these 2 picks, he goes for the Scarf. But because they already gave them the Rhyme, if you go for the Scarf, that's a double CP composition that you don't want to pick. So Tribe is drafting it really smart. Rogue are trying to take their time thinking about it, and that's why they picked up the Lance, so that they can last pick the laner with more time.
There's even the potential to pick up the Scarf on the side of Tribe as well. That's something we've seen typically go into a Rhyme because you can just keep him at arm's length. However, it's not something that when you think of T-Tigers, you don't necessarily think of Scarf. You think of more aggressive, typically melee things.
Yeah, things like Koshka
is the kind of thing you think of. And Grace coming in as the final pick. It's not often that we get to see Grace go all the way through the draft like this.
And Grace with a Koshka is so strong. It's the quintessential combo that we talk about, where if you want someone who dives in and gets the divine intervention while Grace can just hang back on the back lines and be a protector for your carry, and that's going to be exactly what they can do here. Koshka jumps in, divine intervention for him, and then you have Grace staying on the back lines with the Kestrel to be able to use Holy Novas and Benedictions to keep the Kestrel alive. This is such a strong draft for Tribe.
We have an Adagio coming through here for Hammy as well, kind of throwing the gauntlet down at Dienzio. Obviously, we know Dienzio really stepped up on the Adagio back at the championship. Now, Hammy wants to take that one into the game as well. I'm curious, though, because Adagio typically is going to be CP, but so is Rhyme, so I don't know where they're going to go with this one.
I wonder if they're going to use Weapon Power Rhyme instead so that they can make their damage output diverse with 2 different damage sources. The composition coming from Tribe, though, this is a traditional composition that works really well for them. I talked last week about how you want to put T-Tigers on an aggressive playmaking hero rather than a passive one such as the Fortress. I like the draft coming out from Tribe.
And the Adagio with the Rhyme, even if it does go into a weapon Rhyme, you have such a massive slow from the Gift of Fire proc, and then Rhyme being able to just stick on a target and just build up those stacks.
All right, well, it's time to head on into the first game of this series here. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter to let us know whether you're supporting Tribe or whether you want Rogue to take this one. It's time to pass it back over to Jaws and Denominate for game number 1.
Thank you very much, guys. Here we go. Tribe versus Rogue. Rogue looking so strong right now, but Tribe, they are there. They are waiting, Denominate, to unsettle their throne, unsettle their second seed.
Yeah, and one of the most exciting things about this matchup, Jaws, is Flash actually mentioned, very early on in this split that Rogue is going to be one of those teams that everybody needs to watch out for. But they're going up against the team that took TSM down at the Unified Championship, so this ought to be a fun one to watch. Both teams highly capable, and Max Green taking a bit of damage here.
Hey Max Green, how's it going? 2 turret shots and a bit of prodding from Evil will send him packing for the time being. Elder Train hasn't been started, but Dienzio and T-Tigers are rotating down towards it, with Max Green's health bar not looking so pretty. think Tribe are going to look to maybe back off here. Rogue are aware of this.
Yeah, and Rogue has done a pretty good job so far. It was a great spot out by Evol to, get that Githian wall on max green underneath that turret. I do think that was a Rogue secure there. It was going over to Pawn, the original. And, getting him the gold early is going to be absolutely huge. And with these crystal bits on this Rhyme right now, I have to start looking. Is this a double crystal composition we're going to see? Or is Hammy going to pull out some amazing weapon Adagio? Already seen the weapon pedal. We might as well bring the weapon Adagio back, right?
You're saying that. You're saying that, Denominate, and I'm going to say you're crazy. Although I would have said you're crazy. Hang on a second in a minute. TNT a little bit of trouble? He's good. Impale did land from Evil, but not enough damage to follow that one up. Upon now, but maybe a little bit of a tussle with Max Green. Chasing him away here is going to get the root. Max Green's going to have to be very careful. Pon using those boosts to get after him as well. Shielding. Holy Nova does get the stun. Has to back away from the Spire. Impale does miss, but Pon finally picks up the kill and picks up first blood for Rogue.
And getting that Treant as well as that first blood onto Pawn the original is absolutely huge for the side of Rogue. This is really his key hero. This is what Pawn plays. He's made it work both weapon and crystal power. So getting him ahead early is going to be huge because Rhyme has a useful tool in limiting Koshka's mobility, and that's one of Koshka's strongest suits. Yes, the damage that she can provide is absolutely massive, but the ability to get in and out of fights safely is really Koshka's defense in that early and mid-game phase. And if Pawn's able to take that away, we could see T-Tigers in a dangerous spot, and now Rogue looking down. I don't know if they saw T-Tigers, though. Maybe they did.
Yeah, they might have just seen that camp die. I'm not entirely sure. But T-Tigers, yep, he's going to be sneaky beaky. He's going to be able to get this recall off here in the backs of Rogue. Pon just waiting for the Elder Treant to spawn. Perfectly timed, some would say. Now, you'd call me crazy. Oh, no, I'd call you crazy. Sorry, Denominate. I'm not crazy at all. If you said, we're going to see more weapon power pedal, we're going to see more weapon power alpha. Are we going to see Hammy pull out weapon power Adagio? Maybe. I'd hope not, but we'll have to wait and see.
It's rough to try to run a carry like an Adagio or a Rhyme double crystal power, specifically because their damage source is kind of timed. So Adagio's biggest spike of damage is only really during his empowered attacks. Hold on here, T-Tiger's stealing.
Speaking of empowered attacks, yeah, he's going to be able to steal away that healing cam. Evo's going to get chased out as well. Pon already about half HP. There's just Tribe chasing up. Evo going very low, has to pop that flask, only just managing to survive on the shielding it quickly gave.
Yeah, beautiful plays out of Evil there to get out alive. Fortunately for Rogue, nobody did drop there. And now that Evil has got a chance to recall and pick up that life spring as well as the kinetic shield, if he gets in a situation where he is damaged significantly, he will start to heal up a bit over time due to the passive of that life spring. Hammy still hasn't shopped 2,800 gold in his pocket. This is a rough spot for Adagio to be in, but fortunately for him, he's going to take the opportunity now to rotate down, and we'll get to see if he's committing into that weapon route or into that crystal route. Again, double crystal could be pretty risky here.
Okay, we just got duped. Bought a reflex block and some boost. Yummy Candy Frenzy perfectly timed on that reflex block. Hammy will manage to block that one up. So we don't know yet. This is the big thing. His infantry is full. Pon in a lot of trouble here. T-Tiger's going to chase after him and scratch him down. The NCO does pick up that kill in the end. Rogue loses a member. Pon is going to fall here with level 6 up as well.
Yeah, and Hammy now using a minion candy there to go ahead and help that wave get held up. Knowing that Pon died, this just buys them more time. It means that Tribe can't come in and push the turret without a bit of time invested into doing so. And Hammy, the biggest troll NA, not letting us see if he's going with that weapon or crystal route. Anyway, so it's going to be exciting to see what he ends up going. That reflex block ended up working out for him. He blocked the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, and it is a Poison Shiv here on Adagio Jaws. This is a weapon power Adagio for you. I'm excited.
I'm still going to call you crazy, Denominate. I'm sorry. I'm going to call Hammy a little bit crazy, but you aren't wrong. Weapon power on the Adagio. Here we go. I don't know what happened this patch, Denominate, to make everybody go, you know what, we're going to try everybody weapon power. And now we're gonna
Adagio
go
was
weapon
a
power
strong
Adagio.
weapon carry for a very long time. His ability to get a lot of attacks down quickly, even if the empowerment isn't that strong, it's still an additional burst of damage on those basic attacks. Evol!
He's in a lot of trouble. Triple Githium will help him out immensely. Impale does come through onto 2 people. That gold mine is still whacking away. T-Tiger's in a lot of trouble. Burning alive, but they jump straight back in. They take out Pom. T-Tiger still has to make his way out of that fight, but Hammy doing a lot of work over the wall. Speaking about over the wall, Yummy Cannon Frenzy used straight on top of Hammy. Tribe find the ace out of nowhere. And they're going to be able to take this turret as well.
Yeah, gonna take the turret, and then we'll likely, as a group, turn down to that gold mine, or even just a half rotation out of Pon's jungle. And the usefulness here of the weapon Adagio is getting that poison ship. You are against a Grace. You'll be able to cut down some of that healing. Let's get into that last fight, though. We see the gold mine started up by Tribe. They immediately turn their attention onto Evol, who doesn't have the defense yet to survive the damage from D'Enzio. It is forcing the Fountain and Flask out on himself. T-Tiger's dropped so low, but thanks to that Fountain, he is going to survive. And then a beautiful Yummy Catnip Frenzy over the wall is going to lock up Hammy. They turn their attention onto him. They turn their attention onto the turret. And that is going to be a huge advantage now starting to form for the side of Tribe.
Okay, iterations of the Adagio build, we'll put it that way, because yeah, he's been this massive weapon power carry, went straight into the crystal power, you know, then being more of a captain role. It's come full circle, and that's what I like. That's what I like seeing builds do, come full circle, and I'm excited to see this, honestly, because Hammy pulling this one out, and bearing in mind they are number 2 seed right now, just under Cloud9, and they even took a game off of Cloud9 as well. This is a team that has really come out of nowhere, like everybody has been predicting.
Yeah, and here Tribe has started up the sentry. It is down. I don't expect to see too much more aggression here. Have to see. You know, Tribe against Cloud9 at the Unified Finals was some of the best Vainglory I've ever spectated. It was absolutely crazy fights. This Tribe roster has really come to their own through the second split of summer, and they're looking to continue it this time around as well. Obviously, with Cloud9 having a Worlds ticket securing both of those spots, the runner-up to Cloud9, or if Tribe can surpass Cloud9, whoever the highest seed without a Worlds ticket is, will get that Worlds ticket for the autumn season. And Tribe, they've done a good cause so far. You know, they've brought down TSM, and, you know, they're looking to come into this season now and get themselves in a good place. And, you know, if there's another team besides TSM I'd like to see at Worlds, it would be this Tribe roster right here.
Yeah, that it would. Ex-Immortals roster now. 4,000 gold in the lead are Tribe. Impale does land onto 2 people. Githium wall is big. That Crucible not quite used to its full effectiveness. D'Enzio is going to get healed up versus Judgment gets channel, comes down. Doesn't quite do much damage when you're full weapon power. Yummy Cannon Frenzy on the back line. Pongo fairly low, but underneath his own turret is going to get sniped by D'Enzio. And now it is only support combat as Max Green and Evol face off 1v1. They end up parting ways. 4 players dead. And will mean absolutely nothing apart from gold shifting hands.
Yeah, and great plays on both sides of the map there. It was Evol with some amazing lance plays, but D'Enzio got a triple active camo stun that allowed them to find some additional damage. Unfortunately for the side of Tribe, though, T-Tigers used that Yummy Catnip Frenzy on that backline, was under the turret fire at that point, and unfortunately those turret shots rack up very quickly, especially on a low health, low defense assassin. So overall, Rogue, I think, actually gets a little bit better of the trade-off there. They pick up a little bit of additional bounties over the side of Tribe just due to how the kills were. And then obviously they don't lose out on their turret either, so can't be too hurt if you are Rogue, but Tribe taking down the gold mine, they are still in the driver's seat in my opinion, Jaws.
Absolutely. I mean, you just look at the gold at that point, don't you? That's a good 350 gold going over to each member of Tribe. Now, they are sitting at about 5,000 gold lead. They've got a lot of vision down as well. Does look like Evol just wants to clear out some of it, it seems, but Tribe more than willing now to just push into Rogue's jungle. Rogue just need to open these turrets up here, Denominate. They need to be able to just secure this first one so they can do exactly the same thing. And I've just seen what Max Green's bought, and it's going to be an Echo. The survivability for Tribe now is going to be very, very strong. Rogue, they're going to have to do something. Crystal Sentry is going to get fallen again. Max Green jumping on the back line. 2-man Holy Nova. There's the Yummy Cannon Frenzy straight on Evol. Evil. Evil's going to be the target, and he ends up falling first. Valkyrie from the back line, and Pon is going to be able to lock up T-Tigers, but can he lock him up for long enough? The 1v1, T-Tigers only just comes out on top. Does end up going down anyway to, I believe, a minion, and that will be tried.
The Frost Guard.
Was it? The
Frost Guard damage over time.
The wall.
Nope.
And just hit him once, but that was just the minions looking a bit too menacing, in all honesty. Tried to end up taking down 2 members. T-Tigers, the only one falling for them.
Yeah, and that was a incredibly questionable call out of Rogue there. They were in a 2v3 scenario where they've already been losing out on the 3v3 fights. The Crystal Sentry was already dead to rights, and they came into a situation where it was them getting locked up, and they ended up giving away way more than they needed to. Fortunately, Pon was able to get that damage over time onto T-Tigers, but now with that Aegis complete, T-Tigers is going to be a lot more sustainable against this Rhyme, and the movement's not going to matter as much as we get into this game. Everybody's going to start to upgrade their boots here in the next couple minutes, but Tribe, you know, we're one fight away from Tribe really being an unbeatable force. Dienzio, 3 items now online for this Kestrel. T-Tigers already committed into defense, almost at that broken myth. I just don't see the weapon Adagio working out thus far.
He has got a Sorrow Blade, so he's doing a little bit more damage. They're going to go straight on him, but look at Dienzio's damage. Absolutely massive. 2-man Githian Wall. Valkyrie comes down as well. Max Green is going to block it. The heal onto T-Tigers. Divine Intervention used already. Echo's going to get popped as well by Max Green to refresh the cooldown. Dienzio now in a 1v1 versus Hammy. Who wins that one? It's definitely going to be Dienzio, as he doesn't get another loaded chunk of health. T-Tigers actually going to 1v1 Evo as Pon. He actually just had to piece on out. Hammy gets the kill onto Dienzio, though, across the turret. Max Green looking for the benediction, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to find it. They lose a member each here, so again, once more, this is the tables have been leveled.
Yeah, and what really worked out well for Hammy in that last fight was it looked like Dienzio did clip one of those glimmer shots, not getting the full damage, just getting the crystal portion. But not only that is the trade-off in a 1v1 between the Adagio and the Kestrel, if Kestrel's using those glimmer shots and misses even one, because Adagio is getting more basic attacks out, he actually can win out on that trade, and that's where Hammy was able to win that 1v1. They both popped their block, and it ended up being Hammy that came out on top, saving the ace, and you know, keeping them in a position where they can still look to find another fight. You know, if that would have been an ace for Tribe, that would have been a turret, a gold mine. You know, that would have been a 10,000 gold lead by the time it was all said and done.
All of the above. That's what it would have been. Everything on the map, please. Thank you very much. Tribe now pushing down at this lane once again. We are approaching the 15-minute mark, Denominate, and we've seen Tribe more or less in Rogue's jungle 90% of this game, it feels like, at this point. Now, Evil, he's starting to get a little bit more tanky. Obviously, he's got the Echo now, something that we've seen prioritized by captains all too much at the moment. So double Githian Wall, double Impale even if you really want to. Tribe are going to take this gold miner, the last of its kind. Evo's going to come in, does get the Githian Wall. That's going to get blocked up, though. Another Githian Wall onto Dienzio. Divine Intervention comes through for Max Green. Going to heal up the Kestrel. He can jump straight on in. Benediction onto 3 members. Holy Nova onto Evo. Ends up going down to the swipe, I believe, by T-Tigers. January Cannon Frenzy on Hammy. Does go down, but now Pon in the 1v3. Can he make it work? Max Green going very low. Holy Nova does stun him up. He's already taken down Dienzio, the massive damage threat. Max Green digged up, diving and dodging out of the damage. T-Tiger finally finds the last portion of damage, does take him out. T-Tigers with the ace. Tribe are going to look to focus this turret now.
Yeah, Tribe picks up the gold mine. Tribe picks up a turret as well off the back of that ace. Pon again was able to find the damage onto Dienzio, did kill him. Dienzio, however, working into that 4th offensive item, which is likely going to be a 2nd monocle, and that's going to allow him to have so much burst damage with those glimmer shots. But not only the glimmer shots, this is the same build that weapon pedal runs. Getting into that replay, though, Hammy, you know, did get locked up, and T-Tigers, you know, again, was able to come through. Pon did find that kill onto Dienzio, but wasn't able to last on out. The cooldowns for the Rhyme, as well as the low energy, T-Tigers was able to come in with the Aftershock procs, get the kill, and the Tribe was able to get a lot off the back of that ace.
All right, now, if this was in solo queue, Denominate, and your Adagio was going weapon power, After signaling he was going Crystal, now I can't imagine Hammy would have done that, but he has got a breaking point now. Is this the point of the game you say, okay, maybe the Adagio is now starting to come online, maybe he's now actually going to start to do damage?
It could definitely ramp up in the fights. He has to be the one to survive long enough. And, you know, it's been, for the most part, Evol and Pon. Well, Evol's been getting dropped pretty early, but Pon has been the one that's been surviving the fights. So maybe now that Hammy is, you know, going to be ramping up damage, they might be able to turn the middle of a fight around. But with a Kraken now going over to the side of Tribe with a 9,000 gold lead. 3 turrets will stand between Tribe and a victory, and Rogue has done all but touch the first turret of Tribe. So if you're a Tribe fan right now, you're looking pretty good. You're happy your team's doing good, and you just gotta hope that they don't overcommit to this Kraken push. We see these teams all too often overcommit on a Kraken push, give up an ace, and with the lead that Tribe has, if Rogue's able to find kills here, if they're able to find an ace, if they're able to find even 2 kills in a Kraken, that would be a hefty amount of gold that goes back into Rogue's pocket.
There'll also be a lot of time on those turrets as well. 16 minutes on the clock, that Kraken has been unleashed by Tribe. These turrets will fall very quickly. Dienzio just rips through them. Kraken are very well defended as well. Pon, Hammy, they're going to have to do some mean work. Evo's doing mean work right now. Valkyrie onto 2 members. T-Tiger's already in the backline though. Dienzio completely left alone. Yummy Cannon Frenzy on the Adagio, and Hammy's already fallen. The big heal onto T-Tigers to keep him alive. Kraken still marching on the base. Max Green fairly low, but still has another Divine Intervention to his name. Pon is just trying to take out T-Tigers best he might, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Crystal's now going to get focused. The turrets are gone. The team is gone. Rogue falls in game number 1 to Tribe.
Tribe coming in strong today, Jaws. This Kestrel pick for Dienzio was absolutely huge, but not only that, T-Tigers with a massive performance on the Koshka, one of his most comfortable picks. And then obviously Max Green over here on the Grace as well. Those double Divine Interventions keeping T-Tigers alive was absolutely huge for their cause, and they pulled it together.
Evolved from a cat to a tiger. T-Tigers really stepping up in that game, 7-2 and 6. We're going to jump onto the analyst desk though. They'll break down that Tribe victory a bit more.
Well, we said that this Koshka was a signature pick for T-Tigers, and he absolutely proved it in that game. Exceptional play coming out from him. Pure aggression on that Koshka, and that's exactly what you want to see out of a pick like that. I have to say, going into it, I was a little bit nervous about the matchup into Rhyme. Obviously, he's great at these melee duels, but T-Tigers didn't have a single problem.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Koshka is one of the few melee characters that does really well into the Rhyme, is her movement speed. She's able to dodge out a lot of these Winter Spires and prevent the Rhyme from really being able to get as much of the fortified health or damage as he would like.
Movement to speed is the key word and the key phrase there, Tasty Bacon, because what Koshka can do against Rhyme, she can't outduel him because Rhyme is too strong against melee, but she can dance around the map and try to steal his farm. She can ignore him completely and just secure the farm, and that's what T-Tigers was doing. He was rotating on the jungle treants, on the mid treants, and trying to last hit them over upon the original, and he did it successfully.
Absolutely. And let's take a look at some of the early game skirmishes that were happening. This was Tribe's first ace of the game. It happened around 6 minutes into the game. This is where they really started strong.
Yeah, and again, the Kestrel doing really well into these compositions as well. It's just very difficult for Pon to actually get this damage to stick. You see T-Tigers goes in, goes low, but gets out of harm's way, and then just knows when to re-engage. That's the most ridiculous thing about watching Pon the original, or watching T-Tigers play into this Pon the original Rhyme, was his knowledge of when to get out and when he could go back in. Even if he only had a sliver of health left, he would go back in at the right time, use the ultimates, lock down targets. It was just really fun to watch.
We talked about Max Green versus Evo, the matchup. That was an incredible fountain coming from Max Green to save T-Tigers and keep him alive. The target focus from this team was really spot on. After that team fight, they got the first turret in the false gold mine. That's what got them to snowball.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, just perfect gameplay on this cat coming out from T-Tigers. Let's take a look at the next replay in that game as they continue to snowball this lead.
This was another team fight they were trying to snowball with Crystal Miner focus, Crystal Sentry focus, as you can see. The stun lands on Evil, and again, he dies before he uses his Fountain or Crucible. This was the second time. The first time was being that team fight that we saw just earlier. Evil not really playing to what we know him how to play, and Tribe definitely taking advantage of that, punishing him every time he was out of position.
Another small, strange decision there was Pon the Original had an infusion in his inventory, used it right before he died. And it's very strange to me that you would do that because that's literally just taking time off of your infusion. You know you're going to be falling there. You know you're not going to be able to turn that fight around.
It feels like a panic
hold on to
decision,
it, yeah.
right? It feels like a, oh no, I'm going down, better use an item kind of thing. And unfortunately, not the best situation for him. Let's take a look at the final fight of that game, as it was just Tribe finishing things off and just sinking their claws into the side of Rogue.
Yeah, and this one looked like it could have gone either way because Hammy was kind of untouched for a little bit, but all of a sudden a couple glimmer shots hit and his health bar just disappears because of this massive crits coming out from Dienzio. And of course, T-Tiger's still just running around this fight, not being able to get locked down. Even at this very end, when he's focusing on the objectives, you know the general area is going to be in, he still was not able to get the damage onto it.
I mean, you could clearly see that team fight. The damage output coming from the backline that Kestrel is in comparison to the backline that Adachi weapon power is just too strong. Kestrel definitely wins that matchup. And this is where Hammy's hero pool shows. I mean, they had to go all the way to the Adachi open power in that draft just because Tribe had a very smart draft coming up against them, and they denied him the Jewel and the Kestrel. Every team has a pattern, both in their draft and in their strategies. And the teams that are going to be able to recognize those patterns and abuse them, those are the teams that are going to come out on top.
Yeah, let's start to talk about this next upcoming draft, as honestly, it feels like with the side of Rogue, when they get their comfort picks, they're an incredibly strong team. But, you know, you've just been mentioning about Hammy's hero pool. The same can be said for Pon the Original as well. So you have to wonder if maybe over the next couple of weeks, the goal for this team should be expanding these hero pools so that they can't get drafted into these situations. Immediately banning away the petal. Once again, Rogue do not want to deal with that.
And Catherine going to be the ban from Tribe. This is looking pretty similar to game number 1 thus far. We'll see if Rogue continues to go for that first pick on the Rhyme, but if they do, they're going to run the risk of just having the exact same thing happen where Tribe takes Kestrel, bans away the Jewel, and just leaves Rogue in a very difficult situation.
Only this time they would actually be able to do it even better because they have another pick on their second rotation to take another pick away from Hammy. So this first pick for Rogue is very crucial. If they continue going for the Rhyme first pick or the Cruel to get Pon the Original his favorite heroes, they're going to risk running Hammy off of his confident heroes. So it's a tough decision for Rogue here, and you can see they're taking their time with it. They actually end up going for Lance. Neither one of the two heroes or the two players focusing on either one.
I kind of like this decision from Rogue to go with that captain first, because it means that they don't show their hand on which hero pool can be pinched specifically.
Exactly. Now, that's what I was going to comment on, is that Tribe now can't just say, okay, well, you just picked a carry, so we're going to focus out Pon's hero pool, or vice versa. So I think it's actually the smartest decision for them, because now Tribe can take a couple of heroes off the board, but they have to make a decision of which one they do want to focus. Looks like with the Kestrel pick, they're still playing it safe just in case the Rhyme pick does come out again. Of course, Dienzio is just a great Kestrel player too, so it's just safe pick. Then they ban away the Rhyme. So a little bit of focus on both right now. Just saying, you know what, we're not going to be able to totally focus out one of your players, so we'll just take away the top of both of them.
I actually would have liked for Tribe to go for the Scarf, just because Dienzio Scarf is one of his strongest heroes, and he's very outspoken about it. He has been in the past. That would have taken it away from the Hammy. Then you can ban Jewel, and then even if they go Kestrel, Scarf is a great matchup into the Kestrel. One thing that it can do against these teams and these players that have very specific hero pools, if you don't want to take everything away, you can leave them one option and pick something that works great against that one option. So getting the Scarf and leaving them the Kestrel would have been a great way to do that. They go for the Arden after the Grace is banned. Obviously, Max Green, he's a very well-known Arden player. His gauntlets are going to be very beautiful, and his Vanguards, I'm sure, are going to protect Kestrel very well.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where now they still have that counter pick. The Kestrel could technically still be flexed. It hasn't really been seen as a crystal-powered jungler in quite some time, but there is always that possibility depending on what Rogue picks up. But I expect Rogue to go towards those comfort picks, maybe look to get that Jewel onto Hammy because he has played it so well, but that's a risk that you're taking going into a Kestrel because of how important positioning is, and Kestrel can just go into the active camo, try and sneak up behind you to where you don't have that extra armor and shielding. But it is going to be the Kroll pick for Pon, so there's one comfort pick taken care of for Rogue.
This is probably going to be a Scarf. If Hammy or Rogue try to play the draft to how they've played it in the past, they decide to go with the Celeste. This is something that they haven't picked up too much yet this season, so it's already a new thing. So perhaps Rogue are saying, we do have more heroes that we can play, and we have bigger hero pools than you expect us. The Koshka comes through again for Tribe. Cruel is a really good hero against Koshka. He can defend her off and he can outduel her actually, but same as Rhyme, Koshka can run around Cruel and try to just take the objectives, which are the jungle camps, away from him.
That is a little bit tougher to do against the Cruel though, because he does have that Spectral Smite to be able to secure those jungle camps. But this is a composition, we said that we haven't seen the Celeste from Hammy this season, but before the season, in other events, he was running Celeste. This is the kind of composition Rogue had been running all through VIS. They were having great success with it, and they were just destroying teams with it, of this kind of double bruiser, protect Hammy, let him hyper carry late game.
All right, well, we'll see if it's going to be enough to take on the likes of Tribe. T-Tigers has got his Koshka once again. Kitty got claws on this one. Let us know who you think is going to take this on. Hashtag Vainglory8. But it's time, once again, to pass it over to Jaws and Denominate.
Thank you very much, guys. Tribe with a 1-0 lead over Rogue right now. They are looking to separate themselves from the pack. Only sitting at 5 points, with Rogue sitting at 10. If they secure a win here, Denominate, they're setting themselves up for victory later on.
Yeah, and moving on past day one is obviously the biggest thing you can do, because it opens up so many opportunities for points on our Sunday broadcast. Obviously, Tribe in a good spot to do so right now. But this is a incredibly aggressive rotation from Tribe right now, and D'Anzio's rooted.
Oh no, he gets rooted. EU Trient saves Rogue, or well, doesn't really save them, actually just gifts them a kill. That'll be first blood going over to Hammy.
Yeah, first blood onto the Celeste is absolutely huge, because Celeste not only spikes with items once she gets to that 3-4 item mark, she also spikes at level 8. Tigers being a little aggressive here, probably not the most ideal situation for the Koshka to be in. And Hammy, no weapon Celeste in the lane for us this time around, so going to obviously have that late game spike with those Helios. Able to zone out D'Anzio is really going to be the key thing that Hammy needs to be doing in the late game. They can stun up T-Tigers. He can jump in. We have the Lance, we have the Githian Walls, the Impales, we have the Krull, but Hammy is going to be the one to single out D'Anzio on that backline with his zoning from Heliogenesis if they want to come out on top this game. D'Anzio is a fantastic Kestrel, and his damage is going to have to be respected.
Brilliant. Well, D'Anzio is on a carry as well, and he's going to be fairly scary to the late game. He's got Max Green for protection. He's got the Vanguard and the Gauntlet, obviously. But T-Tigers, he wants a bit of action. He wants a bit of that Elder Tree, and he's going to dive into the back line. It does get smited away by Pon, the original. D'Anzio has made his way down towards us as well. But regardless of that, it's going to be very hard to contest big neutral objectives like that if you're if you're Tribe.
Yeah, and, Rogue's off to a good start, I might have to say so myself. They've gotten 2 Treants, they've gotten the first blood as well, and even in that first rotation, I don't think D'Anzio was actually able to steal away Pon's Treant. I think that did end up going over to Rogue as well. So they've got to be feeling really comfortable off the back of that unfortunate loss for them in game number 1. Obviously, the weapon Adagio not quite coming through the way we needed it to, but as Tasty Bacon mentioned it on the desk, this is the kind of composition that has gotten Rogue so far, is the double bruiser front line, and just give Hammy a hyper carry here, whether it's the Scarf, the Celeste, the Idris. Now T-Tigers might be in a bad spot.
Oh, another root from the Elder Treant, and T-Tigers, victim of that one. Pon is going to come up big and actually steal away the Elder Treant there. So close. T-Tigers actually got rooted because he dodged out of the way of the Impale. Good little fancy footwork. Doesn't net anybody a kill, but it still nets Pon a big chunk of gold.
Yeah, another Treant going over to the side of Rogue. They've already taken the 1,000 gold lead here 3 minutes in. And obviously, the amount of damage that a Celeste can put down onto a turret, if they are able to find another kill where they're in a position to come into the lane, that turret is going to be made short work of. Hammy, though, again, with these really long rotations, he has 2,400 gold in his pocket, Jaws. If a team fight does break out, I do have to give the edge over to the side of Tribe, just because the amount of damage they're going to be able to put and the limited amount that Hammy is going to be able to return.
Oh, big core collapse actually by Hammy. That's a good impale though. Does land onto 2 members. Ponner's joined the fray as well. Have a couple of glimmer shots. Will send him packing underneath his own turret. Tribe making a very aggressive rotation now after taking a large chunk of damage, but just towards the item shop it seems.
Yeah, and with that shop online now, that is going to give Dienzio an opportunity. He does pick up the heavy steel. Now Rogue, finally with the wave pushed, is going to take an opportunity to shop. He picks up that reflex block. We saw him pick up the reflex block early last game as well. Obviously, T-Tigers on this Koshka, a huge threat. That Yummy Catnip Frenzy does a lot of damage, and it is a very long stun, a 2.2 second stun. If Dienzio is allowed free reign over one of your carries with this weapon, Kestrel, for a whole almost 2.5 seconds, it's going to spell demise for you almost every single time. So this is going to come down to the blocks coming out of Rogue. If they can make T-Tigers commit to a fight and block out on that stun and turn the damage around, turn the crowd control around onto him, then Rogue can easily walk away with this one.
Well, that's who they want to get rid of in a fight. They want to get rid of Hammy, the pure carry. Nice Githian War Impale does land onto the kitty, but she will end up scampering away for the moment. Max Screen taking a fair bit of damage as well. You can see T-Tigers, as soon as he hit that level 6 mark, made his way to the lane, tried to make something happen, but Evo is more than wise. He's, if he lands one Impale, he knows there's a lot of damage to follow up, and a lot of CC as well. Something we haven't actually touched on either here, Denominate. The CC layering coming from Rogue, Hammy's core collapse. We've got From Hell's Heart now available, into Githian Impale, you name it, they've got it.
Well, not only just the Githian Wall, Evol is one of the keen users of that echoed Githian Wall. If you can stun up the entire enemy team with 2 Githian Walls, then 9 times out of 10, you're just winning that fight, hands down. I mean, there's not a contest when there's that amount of crowd control. So that is something that T-Tigers, again, has to be very, very cautious about, is if he does commit into a fight, there is a lot of utility that Rogue can put together to lock him down and take him out very early. Obviously, T-Tigers, this is his traditional start, does go with the Heavy Prism and the Eclipse Prism. You know, those are the builds towards a Shatterglass, but he will likely go into that Aftershock first item. He just really likes to abuse the ratios that Koshka has in the early game. Push that advantage while you have it. So obviously getting the cooldown on Koshka will help those stuns come out more frequently, as well as provide additional burst. But on the original, Breaking Point first, this isn't something that we see too often on these Krulls. It's usually a Tension Bow or a Poison Ship first item.
A bit of a different build here. Wants to be able to stack up in these fights rather than just go for the heavy-hitting Tension Bow. Brock, we'll see how it does work out for him. He is level 7 now, and now most of the time we do see when Krulls hit this level mark, they will just sit and camp in that top brush in the lane and then wait for a small chance to engage. But they need to be able to protect Hammy, so maybe using that in a more defensive manner is going to be his way of playing Krull this game.
Yeah, definitely going to be looking for those long engaged fights. T-Tigers gets some damage down on Hammy there, but not able to follow up. And Rogue is really split up right now. They have to be incredibly cautious.
Really do, and with Hammy taking a couple of glimmer shots as well, he's blinking health bar at the moment. Critical health, and now they are able to just siege up this turret. T-Tigers doesn't have that aftershock just yet, so he hasn't got the full bang for his buck, but Dienzio, he's got that Sorrow Blade, so he's going to make mean work of this turret if he's left any time to it.
I'm actually surprised that Tribe didn't push that turret. They saw Hammy recall. He was so low on health, and this early in the game, there's not really much a Celeste can do to get back into the lane. With tier 1 boots, she'd have to pop that proc, which would be an incredible waste of utility item slot there. But I almost feel like Tribe didn't capitalize enough on that fight, but they did take an opportunity to rotate down. Dienzio obviously has the Sorrow Blade available and is working into that first Tyrant's Monocle, but Hammy working into what is likely going to be either a Frostburn or a Shatterglass. I'm going to have to go with the Frostburn, help keep T-Tigers slowed up, help keep him in the kill zone. Now, Rogue looking to make something off this fight.
Nice Impale. Githium does that to T-Tigers. Doesn't quite find the stun, so they won't go for something just yet. You can see Evil. If he finds something, the whole of Rogue step up. If he doesn't find a Githium Wall or an extra stun, everybody backs down. Very well trained. And I gotta say, they really did crush their way through VIS, and you can tell how much they've been practicing. And I mentioned it before, they've taken games off of Cloud9, who look nigh on unstoppable at the moment. Almost got a perfect game versus Tempo Storm the other day. These guys are really revitalized team coming up against Immortals, who they've got so much experience in their back pocket as well. Koshka does get caught up there. Max Green almost took a core collapse to the face, but did dodge out with a couple of frames to spare.
Yeah, and Dienzio, oh boy!
Ooh, nice engagement from Pon. It's actually going to get blocked up. Gauntlet comes down a little bit on the wrong side. Is actually Hammy picks up a kill straight onto Dienzio. They're going to get Githium Wall, sending them back towards the enemy territory. T-Tiger's in a lot of trouble. Heliogenesis will end up finishing him off with that overdriven. It's very hard for him to dodge out of those. Max Green, anyone alive, did use that Githium, did use that Gauntlet, but that will leave Rogue now with a lot of time on this turret, and will go down as well.
Yeah, and a Celeste makes such short work of objectives that, that is a huge start here for the side of Rogue. Getting that down, it is going to make it more difficult for Dienzio to farm, and Dienzio has a sizable lead right now, so any advantage that Rogue can get to make it easier for Hammy to get to that late game uncontested, that's really a win for Rogue. So now Dienzio does have to be careful. He doesn't have that first turret to fall back to. And as you mentioned it, Hammy now level 8 has the overdriven Heliogenesis, has that additional range. It is easier for him to farm now, as well as easier for him to poke out the opposition. But Pon, the original, needs to get a chance to shop here. He has a lot of gold in pocket that he has not been able to spend. And gold in your pocket does not translate to damage or sustainability in a team fight.
Yeah, but it's always nice to save up a little bit of bank. Start flashing the cash, but he is going to flash the cash in form of items now. He's going to pick up that infusion and tier 2 boots, I believe that was.
Correct.
Yeah, there we go. He's a little bit quicker now. Oh, a little bit quicker to catch up to that cow. Nice give the wall. Two-man stun into the Impale. He's going to get blocked. Hammy's on a lot of trouble in the back line, but T-Tigers has to dash straight on out because Dienzio's in a lot of trouble. Heliogenesis will finish him off. He tries to do all he can. Max Green once again has to run away. Didn't want to fight just then. Gauntlet's only just come off cooldown. Tribe, they're going to lose 2 members and perhaps a little more with that gold mine on the table.
Yeah, gold mine coming up, but Max Green is here looking to maybe contest it. He did pop a minion candy on it, and that is a huge thing to make note. It's not doing a whole lot of damage to Evil as it is on the captain, but maybe he can still come through and get a steal here. He's definitely looking for it.
He is looking for it. It's going fairly low. 1 shot, 1 kill. Not quite. Pon does smite it away instead. Secures the gold bounty. But now Tribe, they do get a little bit of time in lane, but look at the items now raining through. They are making it rain right now. Rogue, they picked up a metal jacket for Evil. In fact, Pon, I'll talk about that in a minute. He does find the Impale on to Dienzio. Yummy Cannon Frenzy is going to get blocked on Pon. Gauntlet comes down. Hammy in a lot of trouble now. He was in the front line. He gets punished for it. Dienzio with the Glimmer Shots will find the kill. And now Pon is going to fall as well to T-Tigers. Now we Tribe taking 2 kills. And now Evil is last man standing up against the mic that is Tribe. They lose the turret, and the Evil might just lose his life in the process as well.
1 more second, Evil. If you live, you save your team an ace. He will pull it off. Oh, T-Tigers taking a couple shots there. That was actually a beautiful fight coming out of Tribe. Hopefully we get into a replay on that one. Dienzio with some incredibly fancy footwork got out of the way of a couple impales coming out of Evil. And like you mentioned, Hammy got himself up into the front line. And that's just not where you want to be as a Celeste. You want to be using your range to the advantage. Yes, I understand Dienzio had made it out on low health. You were looking for that kill. But a low health target is almost as good as a killed target. If you've got them low enough to force them to back, which if Hammy didn't die, that would have been the case, just turn your attention onto T-Tigers. Turn your attention onto Max Green. Force the opposition to get low. You won't lose out on your objective at that point. You might even be able to push another turret off the back of it due to the backing time. It's just, you've got to be more careful on a Celeste. You're so squishy at this point in the game.
Not building any defensive items, and we can't imagine she will either. She did pick up Clockwork the last time she did pick up an item, so again, that is going to be an extra bang for your buck. Rogue now transitioning towards the item shop, just clearing out a little bit of vision as well. Remember, both tier 1 turrets are now down for either side. Rogue. They've been the ones to kind of make these plays. Pon has really been trying to force Max Green into an uncomfortable position. The gauntlet last time really did save them, and in fact did obviously end Hammy's life as well. If he gets another one off like that and just traps Hammy in, it's going to be very, very easy for T-Tigers and Dienzio just to pin him down, take him out, and then they can deal with the rest of Rogue.
Yeah, and Tribe has started up this gold mine, but Rogue smells something amiss, and they're coming down. Jaws, can we see a fight break out over this? Helios are raining down.
Yeah, raining down. A lot of flares coming out as well. In fact, Evo's going to restock his also. Goldmine are about half HP. Again, like I mentioned before, it's going to be very hard for Tribe to actually contest these when Pon is around to smite them away. It's going to get a small... Ooh, that's really big. I was going to say get a small flank, but actually Max Green comes up big with the Gauntlet. That's a massive cooldown now down, and Max Green is very low as well.
Both teams seem pretty tedious to go for this gold mine as it's sitting here, smacking away on Evol, turning its attention to T-Tigers. Here we go.
Doesn't quite land. Max Green blocking it. War Treads get popped. It actually gets stolen away. T-Tigers managed to secure it. Hammy on the back line goes so low. Yummy Cannon Frenzy used on the Pon, but Hammy's already dead, so perfect usage by T-Tigers. They're going to chase him down as well. Pon surviving. Not quite enough, though. Couldn't get the smite stacks off on Tigers, and that will be Evol left again, but it is only Max Green and T-Tigers to do damage this turret. Evol might be able to do something here as he combat rolls over the wall, just trying to distract them for the moment.
Yeah, holding the minions back is really what his goal is here. T-Tigers, as low on energy as he is, isn't at a point where he could really threaten the life of Evol. So Evol swoops around, is able to come through, but as we get into this replay, we'll see the block. Max Green actually did block up that from Hell's Heart. Here comes the damage. Hammy, was unfortunately unable to get out alive. The stun coming through on Pon did keep him off of Dienzio, which gave Dienzio enough time to get through, get those attacks down onto Hammy. They secured 2 kills, but again, good plays out of Evol, recognizing that T-Tigers was low on energy, pulling that minion wave away from the turret. Probably saved that tier 2 turret for Rogue there.
They did manage to lock down the gold miner, so that's at least something for Tribe. A little bit extra, I should say, really. 3,000 in the lead now for them. Rogue, a revitalized team, looking a little shaky coming up against Tribe at the moment. 1 shot, 1 kill will be a little bit of a glancing blow on Evol. He's very tanky at this moment in time. With more items coming online, Hammy almost about to pick up his broken myth. This is very, very scary now. T-Tigers will obliterate, and so will Dienzio. They will be nothing if Hammy can get a couple of heliogenesis off. As we can see, Dienzio picking up 4 aggressive offensive. Aggressive, offensive, pretty much the same thing. Hammy in a lot of trouble. Hang on a second here. Glimmer shots are going to rain down. Your Mechanic Frenzy does get used on Evol. Is going to get blocked. Core Collapse is going to miss. Hammy perfectly using the reflex block there. Solar Storm comes through. A lot of damage onto Pon already, though, and he is going to fall in the end. Dienzio now focusing towards Hammy. Beautiful Core Collapse. Only going to stun up 1, but T-Tigers will scratch him away anyway. Max Green once again left with T-Tigers. They are going to be able to secure the turret. Evol isn't going to be able to do all too much, and in fact, I think I spoke a little bit too soon there, as in fact, Evol does once again shove away those minions, meaning they can't actually secure the turret just yet.
Yeah, and Evol is really one of the better captains in North America, in my opinion, for a lot of his objective plays. And we see it here. This turret is still standing just due to that. But in that last fight, one specific thing that came through that should have spelled something good for Rogue. Evol actually did block out that Yummy Catnip Frenzy with a Githian wall, stunning up the members of Tribe. But at that point, Hammy had ran just a little bit too far away. And, now, unfortunately, the overstay, the overcommit out of Tribe, looking for that turret, does cost Max Green his life. We are at 17.5 minutes. That's going to allow Rogue now to start up this Kraken. With Celeste, they can take it very quickly, and Tribe is nowhere around even to attempt to steal. T-Tigers is on his way, but I don't think it's going to be in time.
Like you said, big overstay there by Max Green. He got the Echo, but Rogue, they've captured the Kraken. Been unleashed with tier 3 boots now on Pon. He's going to be straight on T-Tigers. Well, sorry, straight on Dienzio, more like, to rip him to shreds. Now it's all on to Rogue. They still need to come back in this game because Tribe is still a game up, remember. They are on the ropes, but it's looking good. The turnaround has been made. Gold League not in their favor, but they're going to have this Kraken marching down the base. Dienzio is going to have to do something about it, and he's going to have to do something fast.
And Hammy has picked up that Broken Myth as well as a level 12 infusion. T-Tigers, have you overcommitted?
Tribe going in. Gauntlet comes down. Echo's going to get popped for another Gauntlet. Dienzio straight on the backline. Another Gauntlet does get laid down. Hammy with a beautiful Solar Storm. But they're going to be able to find the kill onto Pod already as a 1-for-1 trade. Make that a 2-for-1. Evo once again left with Tigers. Dienzio, though, is going to be able to take out this Kraken with the help of Tigers. They do end up losing one turret for that one. But Max Green with the perfect engagement, setting up the team fight perfectly with those 2 gauntlets.
Yeah, 1 turret for Kraken. Gold favor goes over to the side of Tribe on the back of that one, especially with 2 kills to solidify it. Max Green did lose his life, but I mean, they did get both carries, so it wasn't a huge push. So as we get into this, we see T-Tigers go way too far, but it was actually a Githian wall that pushed T-Tigers out of that core collapse. Pond taken so low because of the low amount of defense. Dienzio was able to make short work, and then trapped in the gauntlet. Hammy just gets locked down, and T-Tigers bursts right through him. Evol makes a great escape, but it's just Tribe turn their attention onto that Kraken, get it down, and get 500 gold apiece in their pockets. That's enough to renew infusions, Jaws. That is a big deal to give up.
And it's a big deal, and it is also still on the cards for both these teams. It's been so even thus far. Down to 3 turrets each now. The next one will break the base. With Rogue starting to really come online. Hammy with that Broken Myth. I'm looking at you. You are the main carry for this team. It's not a death ball kind of composition, but it's definitely protect the carry, protect Hammy, let him pop off. This is what Rogue do so well, and they've proved that through VIS. Are they going to be able to continue pulling this off? Because Dienzio and T-Tigers, they have made it to the back line before, and they're going to, oh boy, they're going to do that again.
Yeah, definitely looking for it, Jaws, as Tribe is looking to find another fight. Kraken will be down for a couple minutes, but once that gets back on the board, obviously either team can make a huge push out of it with only 3 turrets alive. So Upon the Original has committed hugely to defense and utility. Only that breaking point for his offensive items has gone into the Shiver Steel, which will help slow Dienzio up. But if he uses that active camo, you're not going to be able to follow up with any damage. So it's going to, hopefully some good flares will come out of Evol and allow Pond to get onto that back line, allow Pond to find Dienzio even throughout the active camo. That's really the good condition there for Tribe. That is for Rogue.
For Rogue.
It's
all right. You got there, buddy.
Got it there eventually, but Hammy has the Aegis complete now. It will give him some more survivability against T-Tigers, and that is huge for Celeste in these fights. So it's again, this is a hyper carry scenario. If you lose out on Hammy early, or if you lose out on Pon early, there's nothing that the other can do really alone to follow up on a fight. Kraken's back on the board now. Both teams kind of hovering around, but now Tribe moving into the lane, maybe looking to, just give some presence and see if they can bait a fight out here.
I just want to pick up another itemization choice very quickly from Tribe. Double Crucible coming through for them as well. T-Tigers opting a little bit more defensively here. No, they have to keep Dienzio alive to deal the majority of the damage. He does a lot of burst, and he has got that Broken Myth, so when he gets that stacked up, he's going to hit like a truck. But until he gets there, he's got those defensive items to make sure Dienzio is kept alive in these fights. Tribe now marching down this lane. They've got the minion wave in their advantage here, Denomine.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and T-Tigers going with this Crucible can hopefully help prevent a team-wide stun come through, whether it's the core collapse or the Githian wall. Evol's not quite at that echoed Githian wall, so he's not a huge threat to T-Tigers yet. I mean, it's going to take a lot of crowd control to keep T-Tigers locked up. And now it is Tribe on the wrong side of this fight, but they might be in a good spot as well.
Got that in spades. That is the crowd control. Gauntlet's going to come out. They're going to separate the team. In fact, that Solar Storm was good. Dienzio going so low, double Gauntlet. I can't even see what's going on. I don't think Hammy can either, but he knows when the Heliogenesis hits. That's going to be 2 kills over to him already, looking mighty impressive. Max Green with a beautiful double Gauntlet. Just couldn't save Dienzio in time. Trapped up in a corridor, and Evo just made mean work of them.
Yeah, it was an absolute beautiful play out of Rogue. A huge Solar Storm from Hammy cuts right through the entire team of Tribe. And right, it couldn't have come at a better time. Kraken's on the board. You pick up a kill on both of the carries. This is basically free pickings, or Max Green giving up his life trying to contest. It is now Hammy and Evol pushing in this lane, and upon the original, obviously solo working on this Kraken. Gonna take him a while, but it keeps Max Green busy, and it keeps the wave forced, so he is not able to rotate down. And now that's a Kraken for Tribe, or for Rogue, and it is not a good position for Tribe to be in, with Celeste, how far she is in her build, picking up tier 3 boots at this point, re-infusing. Celeste is able to rein in those Helios over the Kraken, help take those turrets early, and really set up a minefield that makes it difficult for Tribe to come in and try to pick a fight.
Bit later than we normally see it, but Evil has picked up that Echo now, so he is able to double Githium or double Impale. Just make sure you don't double combat roll. That'll look fairly embarrassing. Tribe now, they have to be able to defeat this Kraken in order to make sure their base stays nice and healthy. Dienzio has got the damage. Double Tornado trigger, plus the Monocle is going to rip through this Kraken. He just needs a little bit of time. He's going to open up the base, however. Rogue marching in, not playing so aggressive. They know they can keep safe. Max Green gets his gauntlet interrupted, has got that Echo, but he hasn't got that double gauntlet to work with now.
Yeah, that was a beautiful stun out of Evol. He's so mechanically on point. And now here comes the second.
Gauntlet comes down, 2 men stunned up, but it's not Hammy. He's not stunned at all. Core Collapse comes through, hits Max Green. He's on the back line. Solar Storm hits 3, executes him, and now T-Tiger's trying to get on Evo. He couldn't quite make it. Dienzio versus Pond, the 1v1. Can he do it? He needs to duck, dive, and dodge into Camo. He's going to get flared out. Pond's just going to chase him down, but meanwhile, the Kraken is still on the turrets. One has already fallen. He can go back to base to get some HP, but Pond is just going to shred through them. Dienzio, he might just have the kill here, but he still needs to deal with this Kraken.
Yeah, he does, and Pond does give over the ace, but not before the Kraken goes ahead and comes through, takes down both those turrets. That's now an exposed Vein Crystal on the side of Tribe, and that's really where you want to be if you are Rogue. You're already a game down, and you are way in the lead as far as objectives go this game around. There is a gold lead for Tribe, but I'll sacrifice a couple thousand gold lead at 25, 26 minutes into the game for an exposed Vein Crystal any day of the week, Jaws. Dienzio going to try to get some additional gold in his pocket, going for this Sentry is going to allow him to make sure he has gold to reinfuse. He has plenty, but you never know how many you're going to need this late into the game. So what they really need to do at this point, they need to allow T-Tigers to get as much gold as possible, complete these boots he's going for. He has the Slumbering Husk, which is absolutely huge for this Koshka's survivability. I'd almost expect to see a third War Treads come out of Tribe at some point in this game, just so they have so much utility for that engage or disengage potential, as well as just more additional health to keep T-Tigers alive.
Not often we see triple War Treads, but when you want to kill one target, triple War Treads does the job, and it does it pretty well, but only if they can actually pin Hammy down. Evol has been absolutely on fire. This guy's a monster on the lance. It honestly feels like a ban against him, right? You have to just take it off the board. He's just so good at setting up these plays. 11 assists out of the 13 kills. Well over. Well, I don't know, maybe 80%. I can't do maths, not very good at it, Caster maths, that's what we'll put it down to. Rogue pushing in, though.
Everybody in this game, actually, right now, has a huge amount of kill participation. Max Green is sitting the lowest at 9 of 12, about 75%. So right now, this could really still go either way. These death timers are getting incredibly long, Jaws, and Dienzio and T-Tigers have the damage. Here we go, War Treads are used.
Oh, War Treads, there's the gauntlet as well. Hammy's in trouble on the back line. T-Tigers trying to find him, but Dienzio is just hitting the tanks. Evol going fairly low, though. There's the next gauntlet comes through. Hammy not quite stunned up, but Dienzio's got the damage. Plod's going to be the target. He's going to be the first one to fall. That's a massive Solar Storm comes through, but now Hammy's completely alone. Double Githium wall straight onto the back line, and that will be Celeste taking out 2 members. Hammy only just managing to wipe out 2 before he went down with the Heliogenesis, and now it is T-Tigers versus Evol with Kraken on the board and on the menu as well. Tribe losing 2 members at the end there was so huge for them. Evol trying to find this ace, but T-Tigers a little bit too quick on the Koshka.
a beautiful play coming out of Hammy on the end of that really unfortunate fight for them. He was able to go ahead. Oh, T-Tigers!
Oh, no, Evo, can he do it? I don't think he can. Slumbering Husk came up pretty big there, still trying to get the kill. T-Tigers using that twirly death. Evo trying all his might, pops the water heads, couldn't quite find it. That's actually a delayed ace. He only had to stay alive for 5 seconds longer before Pong came up. Tribe, they're going to find it. They might just start this Kraken as well with Max Green and Dienzio spawning in a second.
Yeah, checking over at this replay, we did see Evil drop very low at the beginning of that fight. T-Tigers came in, and second gauntlet came through. Han was dropped so low, he was forced out of the fight early, but a beautiful Solar Storm hits all 3 members. Not a lot of damage, but these Helios and Core Collapse come through. It helps them secure 2 kills. If Hammy didn't get those 2 kills, that was game for Tribe. They had the damage. They could have just pushed through to the through the base, through 3 turrets based on the death timers. But instead, they now have to pick a Kraken, and they have to be very careful on this push, because if they lose out on Dienzio, then it is Rogue that wins. As long as Rogue doesn't give up a kill, if Dienzio drops the main damage source for the side of Tribe, then there's nothing really that T-Tigers can do or that Max Green can do to prevent Rogue from just forcing into the base. Kraken has 3 turrets to go through. They would have plenty of time to make a base race to this exposed vein.
Yes, there were always the danger, but Tribe, they are dangerous. They are men without fear. That's exactly what they need to be right now. Just without fear, just being able to poke down Hammy, poke down these turrets. 1 shot, 1 kill will go a little bit wide. Turret down to about half HP right now. Hammy still just chunking away at this Kraken. I think it's only going to take 1 here. It's about half HP. Dienzio finally finding that last glimmer shot to take it off the board. But Tribe, they only managed to secure 1 with this Kraken. It's a little bit of gold, but at 30 minutes in, gold's not meaning all too much now.
Yeah, it's definitely not. And again, this is literally the next fight. If someone can pick up an ace or pick up 2 kills, that team should win the game. Dienzio obliterates objectives with this weapon Kestrel build. And obviously, you know, it doesn't take much. I mean, even if Evil was the only one to survive the team fight, if they pick up an ace, he'd have the damage to close out the game. So both of these teams are in a really tough point going forward here. Obviously, a little bit of vision here at the choke point for Rogue, as well as some on the side of Tribe as well, making sure no backdoor attempts come through. And I think you got to be a little nervous if you are Tribe or if you are Rogue right now, because there is so much on the line. There is an additional 4 chances at points going into tomorrow, and both of these teams need them desperately. Obviously, Rogue wants to get a couple additional points on the board, put themselves in the upper rankings, and Tribe wants to come through and secure that world spot, or at least be a step closer to doing so.
Rogue is sitting at 10 points right now, 2nd place only to Cloud9, who have looked also dominant. They do manage to get the win here. They still need to fight Tribe 1 more time. This is a best of 3, remember. We are 32 minutes in. This game is going to be over the next team fight happens. I'm telling you right, unless they 2 for 2 again. I don't know. I'm actually going really ham here. Same with Hammy. They are moving in actually towards the base. There's actually going to be a recall here for Dienzio. They stopped the recalls. 2-on-3 situation. Dienzio trying all his might to get back. Max Green's gauntlet doesn't get interrupted this time. Tito is going very low. Smite does come out. Dashes straight over the wall. Dienzio is going to be alive and well here on the sidelines, setting up those active camo traps. Hammy's going to be in the front of it all, but the stuns do not come through. Max Green T-Tigers did have to get back there to get back to base, and now he is alone with Hammy. This is going to be it. Pond's now chasing him down. Core Collapse does miss. T-Tigers still diving and dodging. Evo is going to fall to Dienzio if he's not careful. They're going to go for the back door here, though. They're still going to be able to take out T-Tigers. Hammy so low. Core Collapse onto Max Green. Heliogenesis was good, but now Dienzio, he's the last member alive. He has to do something. Max Green's going down so low. Pond now with the 1v1 from Hell's Heart is going to hit. He's still trying with all this might, setting up active camo traps. Dienzio, if he gets back to base and gets his health back, he might just be able to do it here, Day.
This is not the spot you want to be in if you're Rogue. That ace I don't think it's enough to end the game. Evil will be up in 20 seconds, obviously with no minions pushing, or at least going to take quite some time to do so. Dienzio can't push through and win this game. So I think Rogue lives to fight another day. But this might be Dienzio starting up the Kraken. I'm not sure if it's the safest bet. He does have a sizable amount of health and that block, so he might be able to do so. But this Kraken is hitting like a truck at this point, Jaws. Evil is up, and I think Dienzio is recognizing this is a little too dangerous for him to try to take on.
Yeah, he's going to just secure the healing camp instead to just get himself nice and topped up. Evo, like you said, has spawned, so is Hammy. I was so close to that going Rogue's way there. They're no desperation plays, very smart rotations from Hammy and Pon, and then the stoppage of the recalls as well. But this Kraken is going to get started up here, and as soon as they capture this, it's going to march down the lane. Pon is nowhere in sight here for Rogue, only just spawning. His Kraken is good as free for Tribe. Only 2 turrets now stand in their way of taking them to day number 2.
Yeah, and we are 34 minutes into this game, Jaws. These teams have been so evenly matched throughout this game. T-Tigers has gone with the Halcyon Chargers as opposed to the War Treads, so he will have some additional cooldown, but I've already spotted out a couple times where their team could have used a additional War Treads, whether for the disengage or for the re-engage, and they just unfortunately haven't had to do so, and we haven't seen any good stuns come out. Here we go, though.
Gauntlet comes in. Hammy's going to get it blocked up for him. War Treads is now popped here for the side of Rogue. Pon used his. Kraken still marching on the base. Very, it's not even low at all. I was going to say very low, not at all. They need to be able to kill this. T-Tiger's on one of them. Gauntlet comes down to actually separate them. This could be really big as T-Tigers gets a lot of free time. Dienzio's now in trouble. He's just trying to kite back from Pon, but that slow to the attack speed from the Atlas Poultons was too good. This turret's going to fall as well. Double turrets here for Tribe with still the Kraken up. One shot, one kill is going to strike, but not strike true on that Crystal. Kraken now at 3rd HP. Max Green not sure what to do with himself. Dienzio getting that healing camp. Hey, this is so close, but it does look like Rogue are going to be able to secure this Kraken. 2 crystals are exposed. Dienzio goes down though. Kraken is going to fall as well. Oh, Max Green, the only one on this crystal. Can he do it? I don't think he can. He's going to go down. Rogue with 50-second death timers to work with. They find the ace.
They find the ace, and Jaws, after a 36-minute game, Rogue is able to find what they need. They come through. They bring us to a game number 3 against Tribe. Again, this is the team that went to number 2 at the Unified Finals. And it took a long time, but Rogue holding their own here, find a game, and game number 3 is going to be all that more exciting. We're going to have to see what kind of draft we get pulled out here, but amazing plays out of both of these teams.
What a beast Evil is on this Lance as well. I called it before. Maybe there's a ban heading his way. Just such a god. And in fact, Rogue right now, such a revitalized team looking to take on the very best. And they did just that. Tribe fall. And that will mean this series goes to a best of 3. The 3rd game coming up very soon. But we're going to jump onto the analyst desk where they're going to break down that stonker of a game even further.
Literally the skin of their teeth. Their Vein Crystal survived on like a quarter of its HP. Unbelievable game.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers. Like, where do we even begin with this? Because, like, once you get to, like, the 30-minute mark, the first 25 minutes don't even matter anymore because everything is so dead even.
It really doesn't. I mean, there was so much back and forth that you don't know who the team that was ahead really was. I mean, Rogue had a better team fight and comp, but they weren't executing properly. So Tribe had a lot of room to win those team fights and try to pressure and almost ended the game. What a close match.
Yeah, both teams almost ended the game a couple of times in that one. Let's start the replays off with a fight that happened around 22 minutes into the game. This is where the late game kind of begins for these two teams.
Yeah, and this one was basically the way these fights worked was if Dienzio got hit by a Solar Storm, Rogue won the fights. It was pretty plain and simple. It was if they could catch damage onto Dienzio at the start of the fight, that was how Rogue won them. But if Dienzio avoids all that damage, he's then able to get in and just blow up Hammy by sneaking up onto him. So it was so incredibly close. That was one of the instances where he got hit by a lot of damage at the start of the fight.
That was also one of the first team fights where Rogue started playing their win condition properly and their composition properly. They started cutting back for Celeste, peeling off for her. Lance and Cruel are extremely good at peeling off just because Lance has the Kithian wall, Cruel, the weakness stacks, his ultimate. There's a lot of peel. But Rogue, for the mid-game period, from like 15 minutes on, they just started team fighting incorrectly. Rogue was trying, or Pond the Original was trying to get on Kestrel, and Rogue were split apart because of that.
Let's take a look at one of the team fights that did happen. This was Rogue managing to defend against a Kraken push from Tribe around 25 minutes into the game.
This was one of the later things, or the later team fights in the game, where Rogue almost finished the game here, but what ended up happening, because they turned around and focused Koshka, Celeste ended up in front of Kestrel, and DNZO was able to just eliminate Hammy without too much trouble, because obviously Kestrel has so much damage at this point, and Hammy doesn't have any defense. After he was able to take Celeste down, DNZO, he took down Lance and came back to defend against the Cruel. It was just incredible play, and you can see so many small outplays. Cruel tried to go on DNZO here, but he can't really do anything. He tried to run away to waste a little bit of his time so that the Kraken can do a little bit more damage to the Vein Crystal, but there isn't much that he can do.
Yeah, in that situation, you're like going for any little thing that will give you an advantage. Wasn't enough there for Pon in that situation. DNZO managed to defend, and then a few minutes later, we saw Tribe on the back foot once again as they were trying to defend from this fight.
Yeah, and this was one where it looked like it was going to be game over. They catch out 2. While DNZO had gone back to base, it looks like 3-on-2. This is going to be the game for Rogue, but somehow Tigers gets away. A beautiful gauntlet from Max Green prevents them from being able to chase down T-Tigers. DNZO gets back involved, and this is one of those instances where they just needed to fight. They have Max Green incredibly low. They have the team split up, and they don't go for their team fight. Instead, 2 of them try and go for this backdoor, but T-Tigers is there waiting for them. It just becomes this chaotic mess of a fight, and that's where this Kestrel is able to really perform.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue really just needed to team fight there, like Tasty Bacon is saying. If they fought, it's a 2v3, and they were already low, they would have been able to win that team fight and close out the game, but they choose to go for the backdoor, and they get punished for it. Kestrel and DNZO end up catching up to the team, killing Celeste and Lance off, and then ends up finishing Cruel, and that saves the game.
Yeah, I'm so close to ending the game there as well. Honestly, that last fight was so chaotic, it's not surprising that Rogue was struggling to decide whether they should go for the backdoor, whether they should go for the fight, because honestly, it's a coin flip decision where the one that you make in that moment is going to decide the game. But we do have the final fight of the game as well that came through. This was what netted the victory for Rogue in the end.
Yeah, and it's real easy for us to sit here and be like, oh, they should have just done this, they should have done that. In the moment, in the game, it's so difficult. But what a smart play from T-Tigers here, drawing the attention away from DNZO, who got dropped extremely low, so that he could focus on the turrets and take these objectives. But then that little bit of hesitation here, DNZO isn't really sure what to do. He goes and takes the Treant. That was incredibly smart, just to try and get a little bit of regen to be able to make this play. But look at the movement here. He goes stealth, and he comes out of the stealth, and immediately a Githian wall into the turret from Evol, potentially saving the game, because who knows, if he gets 1 or maybe 2 glimmer shots off, that could have been enough for him to be able to take down the Crystal.
I mean, no potentially about that one. I think it's fair to say. Go on.
That might have been like an accidental Kithian wall to finish off the Kraken, and he accidentally hit Kestrel and stunned her with the turret. I mean, they had vision to see Kestrel going invisible to come closer to the Vein Crystal, but it definitely seemed like Evil was just trying to Kithian wall the Kraken, ended up getting Kestrel with it.
Maybe. Well, I mean, he did come out of stealth just like a split second before the Githian wall hit, so either it could have just been godly mechanics, we'll never know, but it does mean that we are going to be going into a Game 3 on this series. Obviously, that was an incredibly long game. We need to get on into the draft for the next game in this series. Where do we even begin for this one? What are going to be the picks? What are going to be the bans? Obviously, Pon has been a huge focus. Same with Hammy. These hero pools that have been limited historically have been the focus, but certainly didn't stop him in this game.
I think if you're the side of Tribe, focus on Pon's hero pool. I think he has the most vulnerable hero pool. You can take away they're going to actually potentially let him have the Rhyme again, as per usual, but take away the Kroll. And I think that would be a key for them, because obviously Hammy on the Celeste was incredible, but that's Hammy showing that you can't just focus him anymore. If you take away Kestrel, Jewel, he still has Scarf and Celeste. You can only get rid of so many heroes, whereas Pawn, for Hammy to excel on something like the Celeste, he needs to be on one of those massive bruiser type heroes. And so if you take the Kroll off the board on the second rotation, unless they first pick it here, then you have yourself a situation where you have to completely then rethink things.
I actually disagree. I think Tribe's strategy coming into this draft to focus Hammy is working well. So the Celeste pick, in my opinion, actually didn't do that well for Hammy, especially during the mid game. He was getting caught out of position multiple times on the front line, and that's how Tribe were winning the team fights. They were able to get on Celeste too easily and focus her down and delete her in most of the team fights between minutes 5 and 15, the mid game part. So Hammy on Celeste definitely, to me, showed that Tribe's strategy coming into this matchup is very smart, and it's very correct that they're going for denying him his top picks and letting him go on to these Adagio open powers, these Celeste that he hasn't played recently and is not as strong on them because of that.
Grace going to be grabbed up by Rogue here after banning away that Crawl after the Rhyme pick. And then Lance will be locked in for Tribe. So Max Green going to be grabbing that one. So no Gideon walls onto Dienzio this time around. They're going to be able to protect him with them instead. Now we'll see where Tigers goes. This could well be yet another Koshka pick.
It could be, but I feel like that could be a little bit risky, because with the Grace, they're going to be able to heal that burst damage. That's what how Tribe was winning with the Koshka Kestrel, was they were able to just do so much damage that it was too much for Rogue to handle. If the ultimate then comes through from the Grace, as long as she stays safe herself, all of a sudden you have a Koshka who's jumped in, may not be able to get out, a Kestrel who got close enough to be able to land those Glimmer shots, who may not be able to get out safely. And so it becomes a little bit of a risk. Obviously, if anyone's going to be able to pull it off, it is going to be T-Tigers on this Koshka, because he is so good at it.
Yeah.
But the Grace being there, I think, gives Rogue that little bit of an insurance policy to be able to survive the engagements from Tribe.
Blackfeather comes out, and that's going to be for Hammy in the lane. It's a hero that he actually plays well, but as a triple melee composition against what Tribe has with the Kestrel Koshka, I don't think that's going to work very well, just because Kestrel is going to be able to kite out very, very effectively.
Especially with Lance.
Yeah, on top of that, Blackfeather's early game is really weak, and Tribe are going full out on the early game with the Lance pickup. They have to get ahead with the early game, or with the Lance in the early game with the Koshka and the Lance, just because they're going up against a Grace 2 who's going to outscale very hard. So that's going to work in their favor, the Blackfeather pick. So at this point, if Tribe manages to get advantages and snowball the game, if they play to Koshka's strengths, they can take this serious. Otherwise, Rogue are going to outscale really hard.
Yeah, but Rogue, their team is definitely a team of brawlers, I think it's fair to say. We could see, especially towards the mid-game, a lot of battles coming out from this team.
Yeah, the thing that Rogue's going to have to be very cautious of is the fact that there is a Lance Kestrel. If Lance knocks you away with a Githian wall, you're going to want to continue that chase. You're going to want to dive in, but you could be diving right onto an active camo trap. So vision will be key.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. It's time to jump on into game number 3 of this quarterfinal. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter to let us know who you are supporting. But it's time to jump on in to Rogue versus Tribe, the final game.
Thanks, guys, once again. Final game, you aren't half wrong, Joe. Rogue, Tribe, here we go, Denominate. Winner of this game will go on to day number 2. Rogue looking extremely strong. They got their hounds on that Rhyme again, but T-Tigers, once more, he's got his hands on the Koshka.
Yeah, and T-Tigers was able to make short work upon the original in most circumstances during that first game. And this time around, it's not Hammy on a true hyper carry hero, which is where we see Rogue do the best. In most of their games, at least. So that kind of does worry me a little bit. Blackfeather can be a huge nuisance as well as a huge damage threat, but not quite the same threat that a Scarf or a Celeste or an Idris provide. So now as we have all 3 members rotating here towards this Elder Treant, we could see a level 2 fight here as Hammy and Pawn, T-Tigers, and Dienzio all have that extra ability ready to go.
But they do. Max Green Evo, not so much. Max Green's level 2 a little bit more effective. in terms of combination of CC than Evol's is. However, doesn't like Tribe are just going to take this out of Trien, and Rogue actually just surrendered it. Not too much of an issue. That'll go over to DNZO of all people, so he's going to actually rotate to lane now with a bit of extra cash.
Yeah, and I think it was smart of Rogue to back off there. They do have kind of more of like a level 5, level 6 spike at this point, because obviously that Koshka in that early game is so aggressive and does so much damage. It's very risky, especially when you have no early shield built yet to defend against that kind of push where, you know, T-Tigers can really run away with something. Uh-oh, Evol, are you in a bad spot or are you in a beautiful spot?
Or you're in a beautiful spot for Max Green to land an Impale. T-Tigers is going to run him down. Dienzio's going to make his way from the lane as well, though. Nice double Githian wall. They're going to jump straight on Evo. Glimmer shots will find him and strike him true. Dienzio will end up finding the kill, but T-Tigers still in the 1v1 versus Hammy. He actually picks up the kill in the end, but Pon manages to trade that one, but it's still a net game for Tribe for the moment. Pon getting chased out. Still very, very low here. Used his flask already, but Tribe haven't got the damage to follow that one up. They still net themselves 2 kills though. One on Dienzio, one on T-Tigers.
Yeah, and the only person to actually not use their flask in that fight was Max Green. So if we get at a point later on, you know, within this next minute and a half, 2-minute mark, Max Green has so much additional survivability. Obviously, because that flask is based off of your percentage of health, being the captain, it is going to give him a lot more of that health back in that front line, as well as a bigger barrier. So he will be able to soak up more damage for his team. He'll be able to be more aggressive. And the squishier targets, obviously, Hammy and Pon here in the early game. Here we go. Hold on, Evo.
Evo's pretty squishy as well. Holy Nova is going to get used, knocks out one, but Evo's going to fall already. T-Tigers is going to get runned and gunned down. And he finally finds the last inch of damage. Does pick up the kill. They trade 1 for 1 yet again.
Yeah, it's been the story of this series, specifically game number 2 and game number 3. But overall, a small lead right now developed for Tribe. Nothing major, nothing that Rogue can't come back from. Again, it's not Rogue on that late game hyper carry, but with this double minion candied wave here in the lane, it will get a bit of damage down on that turret without even a presence coming out of Rogue. So it's about a little under maybe a quarter of the turret's health. So that's a pretty sizable amount, as well as Dienzio did miss out on a couple CS there, sitting at only 30 here at the 4-minute mark. But Hammy struggling down here at 22 CS. Just barely scraping, 6 CS a minute at this point is not where you want to be. This Blackfeather needs to come online. He needs to get, probably going into either a Sorrow Blade and a Poison Shiv or a Serpent's Mask and a Poison Shiv, depending on how much sustain Hammy thinks he's going to need. But overall, I do think that Tribe has the better composition because Hammy, it is an assassin. Blackfeather is an assassin. He wants to dive that backline, and that's going to make him susceptible to those huge glimmer shots coming out of Dienzio.
Yeah, that's going to be the main issue there. It's like they're going to swap backlines in theory. T-Tigers is going to jump straight on Pon or Hammy, and then Dienzio is hopefully just going to survive at the back. And please, T-Tigers, deal with them while I try and kill them from a range, please. Max Green, help me, please. That is my that's the life of the carry. If I ever played a ranged carry, it's like Celeste. Everybody's crowded around her. It's like, just please, as long as I can get A's off, it's fine. We're going to win. Dienzio is going to be exactly the same. Thing is, though, Hammy and Pon, early war treads from Evo, possibly just getting them on the back line is going to be so important. As soon as Dienzio falls, we've seen T-Tigers and how he builds. He built Aftershock, Broken Myth, and full defensive before. So Dienzio, again, is going to be this real threat.
And Tribe doing a good job trying to get damage on the turret while they can, but now that Pon's here, at level 6, Yummy Cat and Frenzy and the Valkyrie are available, but we don't have a Divine Intervention or a one-shot, one-kill yet, and those are huge things to make note of here. Fountain is complete for Evol and for Max Green, so kind of even on the sustainability at this point until that Divine Intervention comes online here, and now Dienzio, a bit of damage, but is overall going to be pretty safe.
It's going to be pretty safe if Max Green can land triple Githian walls to shove everybody back. That's not too much of an issue. He's level 6 now, so one shot, one kill available. Yay, the damage from the one-shot, one-kill is going to be all too apparent at the moment, but T-Tigers is level 7. He's the more one you want to look out for. Hammy's going to have to look out, though. Double getting him, although Max Green taking a lot of damage. Fountain does come out. Yamikete Frenzy on the back. T-Tigers still trying to get on Pond. Valkyrie comes down. Max Green going very low. Beautiful Holy Nova will catch up 2 of them. Max Green's going to fall as well. Dienzio trying to get the recall off. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Rogue, they're going to find the ace and a triple kill for Pond.
And it could not have come at a better time. I was almost questioning Pond's use of the Valkyrie so late into the fight. It seemed like a better opportunity early on. They were all 3 grouped up in that mustache bush up in the lane. Overall, ends up working out. Rogue does lose out on Hammy, but they find an ace thanks to Pond the original and Evil. Here we go, we get into it. A good root coming through onto Hammy, but they're not quite able to find the damage. The fountain does come through, and at this point, Pond has already got his hands into Dienzio's pocket, got a lot of damage down. There's the Valkyrie. They find Hammy, but Pond the original finds Max Green for that mist and pale over the wall. They turn their attention on Dienzio. They get a turret taken down, and that evens the game up. But now Tribe looking to make sure that's not a thing, and they are turning their attention onto the gold mine.
Yes, they are. And I think they're going to be able to take that pretty free. Yep, there you go. 400 gold each. Thank you very much. Pond had no word in edgewise. That'll be Evo going for a small engage. Now, Pon, his Valkyrie is up yet again, and Evo has hit that level 6 mark now, so he has Divine Intervention to keep one of his members alive. At the moment, especially with Pon taking those the triple kill and the complete ace, he's now got Shatter Glass as well, so he is going to be hitting like a truck. Now, can Max Green kite for Dienzio enough? Who needs, again, he needs a couple of items to actually fully get going, with only Sora Blade under his belt thus far.
Yeah, and one nice thing about this route that we're starting to see more Rhymes do, and this is something that really Pond did before just about anybody. A lot of people went that Eve of Harvest first to get the additional sustain through the healing. When you go the Shatterglass route, you actually build enough fortified health that you normally don't need the healing in this early part of the game, as well as you do more damage. But here we go. This fight's breaking out quick.
Oh, big root onto T-Tigers. That's going to be a Divine Intervention used onto Pond to keep him alive. He didn't even need it at that point because T-Tigers is already dead. Max Green is going to get chased down. Hammy with a lot of Heartthrob stacks on him. Max Green's going to take a whole bunch of damage if he's not careful. Hammy dashing forward. Dienzio over the wall. Gets a couple of glimmer shots off, and Hammy actually decided to back off here as the Crystal Sentry has entered the fray. I tell my words right there and then. Dienzio is going to come straight back in. A Divine Intervention not available for Hammy Evo, so Hammy's going to have to be very careful as T-Tigers gets on the respawn. Pon and Hammy trying to kill Dienzio, but it's not going to work on an inch of health. Ends up almost going down to the tree end as well there. Hammy falls, so does Max Green. In fact, a double kill for T-Tigers. He does run down Pon. Tribe only just managing to save that fight with T-Tigers spawning.
Yeah, and that was an immense amount of overstay coming out of Rogue, trying to chase down the captain, not even able to find it, and then giving up kills. Fortunately, Evol was just able to find one on T-Tigers here underneath the turret, but this is Hammy missing out on a couple CS here as well, so overall, it is going to be Tribe keeping the lead here, and looking forward, Rogue has to be more careful and make more cautious decisions. You've expended so much in the fight. Your fountain is down. Your flasks are down. And you know T-Tigers is coming. You know how fast Koshka is, how much damage Koshka does. And yet you've still committed all the way underneath the Crystal Sentry. The slow coming through out of that helps Dienzio find some good damage onto Hammy. And they were able to find 2 off of it, but unfortunately unable to get anything.
Divine Intervention on Pon to start this fight off, as he did get found pretty instantaneously. Valkyrie onto 3 people, that's absolutely huge! But they still managed to kill Hammy right there. T-Tigers over on the other side of the wall, 1 shot, 1 kill, will execute Pon, but they end up trading in that small engage 1-for-1, but a net gain for Tribe, as they did take out Pon to start off the Hammy to start off the fight. That was very, very quick. Oh, before it even started, Dienzio and Max Green now are going to have a little bit of time on this turret. But Evo just trying to dissuade them, even just a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a great spot so far. Hammy has gone into the Serpent's Mask and the Breaking Point. Unfortunately for him, Evol was again able to come in and hold a wave off of the turret. This is something that he's always been incredibly good at, is that decision making, knowing just how sustainable he is versus whatever carry or carries may be alive. And keeps Tribe from getting that additional gold in their pocket. They do have a lead, but keeping that additional 200 gold each down is absolutely huge. And now, with infusions purchased, Rogue actually could have looked to just control the shop there with the edge that they had. Give it up, and they give the side of Tribe an opportunity to hit that shop.
They are going to rotate towards the lane again. I thought they were going to go for a cheeky gold miner, but didn't want to open up on it just yet. Dienzio taking a fair bit of damage now if he doesn't get out of the way of those on points from Hammy. He hasn't been able to actually attack and hit the back line thus far. He's been stopped in his tracks more often than not by T-Tigers, but he does have Serpent's Mask and Breaking Point now, so the longer he does stick on Dienzio, or even T-Tigers at this point, not too much armor on him, he will be able to dish out a fair bit of damage in these elongated fights. Echo now finished for E-Roll. This is a big turning point for him now, but Max Green's got his War Treads finished as well, so they are able to disengage and engage with those.
Yeah, and that's a huge opportunity for the side of Tribe now. Obviously, we don't have that yet. Hold on, here we go. Rogue
Hang on a
start
second,
up a
Evo
fight.
jumps on the back line, does get the Divine Intervention onto one. Valkyrie actually does miss Dienzio ever so slightly. Pong gets healed up with the Divine Intervention. Dienzio still trying to kite back. Rogue's offensive on top of him, still can't find the kill. Eventually finds it with the on point. Hammy on the chase. T-Tigers jumps straight back in. Beautiful, get the wall into a triple impale, but it's not going to be enough. Rogue find the ace, they're going to find the Crystal Century, and they might just find that gold miner as well.
Yeah, they definitely should look to start up that gold miner, and Hammy is actually looking to take away the jungle here of Tribe as well, and this is going to provide a swing of gold back into the favor. Let's get into that replay, though, as we see a engage coming out of Rogue, a stun going down onto Max Green, maybe not the most ideal target, but the Divine Intervention comes through, allows Hammy to get onto Dienzio. The second Divine Intervention tops Hammy up almost fully. They find the kill, and then it's just a matter of time. I actually don't know why T-Tigers turns back into the fight here. They almost find the kill. They end up giving up an ace, though, and so much objective off the back of it. A gold mine, a sentry, as well as the entirety of your jungle. And that's just not a good trade-off for Tribe there. For the first time this game, Rogue has pulled through ahead in gold and still have their first turret standing here at almost 14 minutes.
It's got to be a record time almost. Not, unfortunately, going towards the perfect game, as they have given up 8 kills, but needless to say, the gold stretching in their favour ever so slightly. Only about 100 at this point in the game. You'd really think, to be honest with you, it would be a little bit more in favour of Rogue, considering the kills and considering the turrets, but all down to that CS. 111 to 137 on Dienzio and Hammy. So you can tell where their priorities have been lying. Dienzio just wants to get farmed up, wants to get to that late game. Has got the double monocle, so you can imagine a tornado trigger. We've even seen a bone sword today as well on the Kestrels to just rip through some of that armor. But right now, well, for now at least, Tribe, they're just happy to just take some of their camps away and maybe look to set up the next fight.
And Hammy, committing into that metal jacket is going to give him more of that survivability. We talked about how he's vulnerable to those glimmer shots when he dives that backline. Thanks to the Divine Intervention and the Echo Divine Intervention coming out of Evol, he's been able to sustain long enough to find the kills. I almost would think that Hammy is even maybe going into an Aegis before he goes into a third offensive item, just for that additional sustain in that backline. But now it is Tribe. They're around the gold mine, but thanks to Hammy forcing the wave up, they are going to have to turn their attention that way. So overall, this next fight, we are 15 minutes into the game now, Jaws. 10 seconds till the Kraken is up. The next team to win a fight could look to get that objective, could turn this game around for Tribe if they're able to find Hammy early on in a fight. There's not much that Pond is going to be able to do if Dienzio is still healthy.
Well, last game was a 34-minute slugfest. We'll see if this one's any quicker. But still, Rogue being very cautious. Same with Tribe.
Yeah, neither one of these teams wants to lose a fight. Again, we're here 15 minutes, Kraken's on the board, and I think that Rogue is in a better position right now. We have the spikes available for all these heroes. Here we go, Evo's going in.
Evo's gone straight in. Beautiful Githian Water. 3 members. Here comes the Valkyrie. Does stun up Dienzio. He's in a lot of trouble. Just gets completely executed by Pond. Hammy chasing after T-Tigers. Divine Intervention to heal him up. That'll be Max Green falling as well as Pond does just chase him down. Hammy is actually just getting his tail bitten off here if he's not careful. T-Tigers just rips him a new one, and Pond is going to chase him down as well. Holy Nova onto 2. Crystal Century on being the other one. Rogue, they find the ace. That Kraken's going to be on the board as well. And that'll be Rogue taking a very convincing fight.
I don't know why Hammy went so deep there. Fortunately, Rogue was able to clean up that ace onto T-Tigers, get themselves healed up, more importantly, get the energy back onto Pond the Original. Now they've got this Kraken going, and I don't think Dienzio is going to make it over here in time. And Pond the Original has positioned himself between the Kraken and the enemy base. No one-shot, one-kill. Even if it would have come out, it would have been Rogue blocking it. But now, with the Kraken pushing down the lane, Rogue is looking to use the advantage while they have it before Dienzio completes that Bonesaw, before he becomes a huge threat to Hammy with that 4th item.
4-item Hammy on the horizon if he sells his flask. You know what? I can forgive him for that, Denominator, because I've been forgetting to sell my flask a whole bunch of times and wondering why I haven't got many items. Then I realised, oh well, yeah, I can sell the thing. I don't need it at the moment. But Rogue still just catching up in turrets, or I should say Tribe should be doing that exact thing. Rogue just going to take it down at this 2nd tier turret now. Pond a little bit caught out. Divine Intervention comes through. That Echo's going to get popped as well. So double Divine Intervention available for Evil. Kraken still about 2/3 HP. Evil winning to just dive these turrets time and time again, knowing they're just going to break the base. Rogue play it safe, and they're going to back off for now, it seems. Impale does land onto 3 members. Githium always going to get blocked, though. DNZ already at half HP. There's going to be the fountain to heal him up, and a Divine Intervention does heal Hammy in the process. Pond ends up going down, though, to T-Tigers. He's going to chase Hammy now. Does use that Yummy Catnip Frenzy on the back line and does find the root as well. 1-shot, 1-kill to finish him off. Ace for Tribe. They're going to lose another turret to the Kraken, however.
Yeah, they lose a lot off that Kraken push. There were 4 turrets alive, and now only stands 1. It is going to be Tribe taking down that 1st turret. It takes them quite a bit of time, though, obviously with no minions there. So you gotta feel good if you're Rogue. But let's get into that replay. It was a bit of an overstay. Hammy was dropped incredibly low. Pond was as well, but the Divine Intervention was already used. And at that point, Rogue is just too far out. It is Dienzio finding Evol, and then obviously the stun coming through from T-Tigers, that Yummy Catnip Frenzy locking up Hammy. T-Tigers was able to get a little dirty kill steal there. 1-shot, 1-kill, would have finished it, but T-Tigers did get it. So 8-8 for the T-Tigers, and Dienzio sitting here over at 4-3, but has completed that Bonesaw and is a huge threat now, as that additional attack speed does allow the Glimmer Shots to be recharged a little bit quicker, so those will be available more frequently on in a fight, or more importantly, between fights. They'll be back up a little bit sooner, so if they've been used for farming or whatever means, they'll be a little bit safer on those engages. But T-Tigers now Slumbering Husk online, and this is starting to be that point that, yes, Rogue looks like they're in the lead here, but we're at that point that it could go either way. Tribe is at a very strong point in their draft at this point. Dienzio, 4 items online. Doesn't have a block, though, and that is a little bit concerning to me. He is going to the armor, since Hammy has been ripping him apart on that back line.
Needs it at this moment in time. Yeah, I mean, this Bonesaw as well was going to be pretty big, like you mentioned. But T-Tigers got the Slumbering Husk. His survivability in these fights is it paramount now. He needs to be able to kite for Dienzio. He needs to be able to stack up that Broken Myth as well. Now, what do Tribe do? They're trying to, what seems to bait out Rogue into a fight in these corridors where Max Green loves to be. It doesn't look like Rogue are taking the bait just yet. Just happy just to control these waves. They know they're at the advantage. And I can't believe I'm actually saying this. There's still actually a gold lead for Tribe as well. Game definitely does not reflect it. And in fact, Rogue being really cheeky here, just walking up the lane, it seems.
Yeah, looking to push this wave up and forced Tribe to fight away from those choke points. But now they're getting to that point. They can't go any further because of the walls that are around that choke point turret. Now it is Rogue looking to start a fight here. Ooh, Jaws, this is a dangerous position for both of these teams.
Pretty dangerous. It's also pretty tense. No team really wanting to actually commit to this at all. Pond maybe in a little bit of trouble now. Now they are where they want Tribe to be. They want them to be just in a corridor. Same to Tribe, to be fair, because Max Green can get some nasty impales off, although Evo's going to come in with a benediction. Look at that damage, by the way. 1 on point, taking Dienzio's HP down to about half HP. Taking his HP to half HP, taking his HP down to half.
Yeah, and those on points do a lot to Dienzio because he is committed to armor instead of shield, and that on point is crystal damage. So even though it is a weapon Black Feather, that is a crystal damage source, and Dienzio has very minuscule amount of defense towards that at this point. Obviously, he has the, I believe it's 30 that comes through on that coat of plates, but it's not a lot, and that's why we can see Hammy look to get some damage down before a fight, and then make an engagement onto Dienzio, look for a kill there. And, you know, again, we're now 22 minutes almost into this game. Kraken is on the board, and Rogue won't even need it if they find a fight. They can just push in and end this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of flares that Evo just cleared out, so at least they're going to get a little bit of vision denial. The metal jacket now completed for Dienzio, so a little bit more tanky now. But 30 on the shielding, fantastic. They're dealing with Pod as well, by the way. He's just destroying him. If one Valkyrie lands on him, he is pretty much donezo. Rogue posturing very aggressively, but Tribe, they need to win this. They are sitting at only 5 points right now, and they need to be able to separate themselves from the pack here to dominate. If they do manage to take this and go to day 2, that's a whole lot of points in your book, and a whole lot of points, I should say, up for grabs. They do manage to make it there first. They'll just separate themselves from the likes of TSM.
Yeah, and, you know, we're at that point, you know, Rogue sees that Max Green has this echo. They know they cannot fight in a corridor at this point. They can't fight anywhere that a wall is active because of the amount of crowd control. But now Rogue is a little split up and has to be careful here. Here we go. A stun onto Evol. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Gets tense and then it just dies down again. See, I told you these teams, they're just too unwilling to start an engagement, just waiting for the other players to actually make a mistake before they go for this engagement, but it's just a vision war at the moment.
I mean, there's so much on the line at this point. Both of these teams are in a position where I think anybody can really consider them to be a contender for that world spot. But I do want to look over at Hammy's build at this point. We talked about the metal jacket he has complete from earlier. He's also gone into a coat of plates as well, so this is just a Serpent's Mask and a breaking point on Hammy here. So now that Dienzio has that metal jacket completed, it's going to be very difficult for Hammy to ramp that damage up onto Dienzio. It's going to give him a lot of time to really be able to position around the fights, to be able to build up those Bonesaw stacks, and that's really not a good spot for Rogue to be in, and that's why I keep saying this can still go either way. Tribe is really in a beautiful spot right now.
Evo actually sacrifices about half of his HP bar there, just through Glimmer Shots alone. T-Tiger's definitely looking for this engagement now. Evo trying to get the sneaky recall off, but will get spotted out. There we go, Hammy's now in the front line, but again, Rogue just willing to back off here, willing to play it fairly safe, but is this too safe? Tribe, they have a dominant position now over this Kraken. They're going to see that Treant getting taken away. They're not careful. If Rogue aren't careful, Tribe could really just sneak this Kraken right into their noses.
Yeah, they could. And, you know, speaking of Hammy's build, I also have to look into his abilities and what points he's put into it, as he might have gone a little bit too safe of a game here. So he has all this defense. He's gone into a Atlas Pauldron now. But he's a weapon Blackfeather that did not overdrive his Faint of Heart. He has overdriven the on point for the additional range and the additional barrier, and the Rose Offensive for the additional cooldown on that ability. But no extra damage.
Hang on a second. Max Green finds a 2 into a 3-man stun. Dienzio left completely alone though. T-Tigers jumps straight on top of Pond to keep him off. Dienzio, double divine intervention keeps him all alive. Max Green once again finds a 2-man Githium all into a 2-man Impale. Rogue, they get healed up by the Fountain and Evol's abilities, but yeah, no one falls just yet. Dienzio got jumped on, had to just Scarpers instantly. I don't think he even got a chance to do damage in that fight.
No, not really. He was forced out really quickly. On the tail end of it, he did find some Glimmer Shots onto Hammy, but nobody died in that last fight. And, you know, Hammy did get locked up. He got stunned by an active camo. Yummy Catnip Frenzy came through before he was able to use a Rose offensive charge. And he still didn't die just because of how tanky he committed his build to be. And T-Tigers doesn't do all that much damage to Hammy at this point, you know, or really to Pond with the fortified health, as well as with the additional healing coming out of Grace, because Koshka obviously wants to go in and get that burst. That's really what she is best at. Grace is very good at taking away burst, and it is just T-Tigers getting wrecked by an EU Truant there, rooting him up. But Tribe might be looking to start up the Kraken here.
Yeah, they're just going to start this one straight up. I think they've got a little bit bored of waiting, and I think most of us have as well. You've got to start. We want to see explosive fights to nominate, but everything is on the line. Evo's actually going to spot this out now, and Tribe, they're just going to back off, although that Kraken's still plodding around. It's about half its capture rate right now, but both teams actually deciding to leave it and just turn 180 and just reset it completely.
That was absolutely crazy there. Rogue actually had vision of Hammy and Evol, and obviously at such a risk that if a steal were to have occurred, they very likely would just lose the game. They decided to pull off, even though Pon wasn't there, but oh, Hammy, you're locked up and Glimmer shots are coming in.
Yeah, they're coming in, but again, Tribe is just going to back off once more. Should we count how many times they back off? We'll have to wait and see to nominate. In fact, I've got a notepad right in front of me. I'll count from this moment on how many times both these teams back off. The Kraken is going to get started again. Will it get flared out? And in fact, I'm not sure they even know it's doing. I think they've twigged now. This Kraken is going down very, very low. Miracle steal from Rogue. If they can make it, it's actually going to go over to Tribe. They back off instantly. The Kraken now on their board and on their side.
27 minutes into this game, if Rogue can find this last fight, they can base race, and if obviously Tribe finds an ace as well, they might even not be able to end the game if they find it too quickly, as those turrets will reduce the death timers. So Tribe has to play this right if they want to end the game here, and all Rogue has to do is find a killer.
But triple impale into the double Githian wall. Look at the war treads. They're going to get popped. Evo jumping straight in on the backline. DNZO left completely alone. This is where he wants to be. But Hammy receives a divine intervention, keeping him alive. And now DNZO's got a lot of free time to do a lot of damage. Another divine intervention, keeping Hammy alive. But a double Githian wall will stop him in their tracks. Holy Nova is going to dissuade Tribe, but they're willing to just jump back in. They need to deal with this Kraken, though, so they are just going to retreat here. Blinking health bars from Tribe. They are very low, so they're just not going to take this fight.
All right, what's your count at now, Jaws?
Oh, it's about 3 or 4. It should be like 9 or 10 at this point in the game.
And Evol's not done. He's
Evol's not done. In fact, they're just going to go straight in. Hammy's actually going to find a lot of damage onto Evo. Evo's not there to protect the rest of his team. They're just going to pop those war treads to get away. Beautiful impale over the wall. Isn't going to quite find him. Crystal Sentry actually gives him a nice hold whack and actually takes him out. Hammy receives another divine intervention. Rogue, they might just base race the Kraken here, because I think they might have done it. T-Tiger's the only one alive.
T-Tigers might be looking to go help the Kraken out here. This is going to be intense. T-Tigers need... Oh, no. T-Tigers... I feel like this is a wasted recall here. I feel like T-Tigers, he had his boots ready. He had energy as well. He could have tried. I mean, the hopes were slim.
It doesn't look like Rogue are just going to end the game, though. The turret is going to go down. T-Tigers can't quite find the kill onto Pon. They're going to focus the Crystal with 15 and 20 second death timer on DNZO and Max Green. Rogue, we're going to see you in day number 2 as they take down Tribe.
And Flash said this was a team to look out for, and they come up big, taking down the runner-up to the summer finals, looking in pretty decent fashion, might I say, in game number 2 and 3. Incredibly long games, but they were able to pull through, and, you know, again, this opens up a huge opportunity for them to get points in day number 2.
Yeah, that it does. They're still sitting high and dry at second seed, however. Those were some slugfest games, and we've got some 3 beautiful analysts to actually break those down a little bit more.
Thank you very much, guys. What a series coming out between these two teams. I think it is fair to say that this is the most even match we've seen all season so far. Exceptional play across the board. Honestly, just a delight to watch. Such close games where neither team can really get enough of an advantage to really push them into victories.
Yeah, such a great series. I mean, we have to go back to the beginning of the season when we had that discussion with Flash Jackson. He said Rogue was going to be one of these teams to watch out for. They're proving it right now.
No, for sure. I mean, against Tribe too. It was such an important matchup because it decides who really is gonna break out into that top 3 in the standings. And Rogue definitely coming out on top, even though it was an extremely close matchup. Tribe fighting back very hard. Could have definitely gone either way. Rogue comes out on top in the end.
Yeah, it really could have gone either way. Let's get into the replays from this game. The first one was around 12 minutes on into the game where Rogue started things off strong here with an ace.
Yeah, and this was where, obviously with Rogue getting this ace, this is the strength of their composition. They can dive so heavily. Dienzio, it's so difficult for him to stay alive. And throughout the later fights, when Tribe were able to win the fights, Max Green was doing unbelievable work to keep him alive on this Lance. But before then, it was any time they went for that dive, there's just so much potential for this Rogue squad between a Black Feather and a Rhyme, to just so much work to be done to get onto that back line.
Yeah, I mean, we said that Tribe needed to get ahead early game just because they had the Koshka, they had the Last, and they had the Kestrel matchup against Blackfeather too. We mentioned how Blackfeather is pretty weak early game in the lane. So Tribe needed to get ahead early game, but they didn't. Actually, Rogue ended up fighting back very well, and they kept it even, and they got ahead a little bit. So that definitely didn't work out well for Tribe because it allowed Rogue to be able to dive very well on Kestrel later on because they were even in gold.
Yeah, and once they'd got those items, they could actually deal the damage enough to kill that Kestrel. Now, a few minutes later on into the game, we saw the first Kraken taken. I believe that went the way of Rogue after going blow for blow, and then Tribe managed to defend this one.
This was a Kraken push coming from Rogue too, but Tribe, they did an extremely good job of just kiting away the Blackfeather, and because they're fighting in their base, the Blackfeather can't dive Kestrel as he usually does and just keep going all the way, and that's what ended up being the deciding factor. They were able to kite away Blackfeather, force them to back away and then re-engage on them and try to clean up, and that's how they held that first Kraken push.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent job defending against the Kraken. And, those are the situations that can often lead to the end of the game. It didn't here, and it meant that the game continued and ended up being around 30 minutes long. Let's take a look at the final fight of this game, as a lot of the fights were very similar to one another. Very much these teams going blow for blow.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the ability to kite away from the hard engage, but then the ability to just continuously engage over and over again. A beautiful three-man Githian wall stun there, but they just weren't able to get enough damage, and here comes the dive. You can see how deep Hammy is able to get onto this backline, but such a good job from Max Green on this Lance to keep him alive, but then matched on the other side by Evil, keeping his own team alive. I believe he ended up using 3 different divine interventions in this fight, but this is probably the most crucial play here as they back away once again. I think Jaws' counter was, he said, up to 9 or 10 in this game, but this is where all of a sudden Evil just says, you know what, there's an opportunity, I'm going in, gets a stun on to Max Green, and they're able to take him down, prevent him from being able to peel for the rest of the team. Crystal Sentry with the play over the wall, but taking Max Green out in that instance prevents him from being able to protect Dienzio, allows Rogue to close out the game, and that's both of these wins for Rogue, a clutch play from Evil to secure the deal.
During the draft, I talked about how Rogue's comp is going to outscale Tribes just because of the Grace level 12 and how much her divine interventions give as far as health to her teammates. That's exactly what happened there. Blackfeather diving really deep. By the way, that's a pick for Hammy that's definitely shown to be strong. One of the picks we haven't seen from him.
Yep.
But diving in that deep, Grace did a great job of keeping him alive, like you said, Tasty Bacon. And that goes back to the fact that their comp is stronger late game. Tribe needed to get ahead early game and mid game and close out, but that didn't happen.
Now, I want to talk about those final moments of the game where we had T-Tigers had to make a decision. Do I go back and try and defend, or do I race them alongside the Kraken? Do we feel like there was a good option to race with the Kraken instead of recalling, instead of trying to defend that?
I don't know if about good option, but it was definitely a better option. There's no chance that you were defending against 3 in your base with only 1 turret. There is at least a small chance that you might be able to take down the opponent's turrets and the crystal before they can get through that turret with no minions. So I think you have to at least give yourself the opportunity to make that play.
All right, well, we'll see whether he's going to be able to make plays later on next week, but he's going to be knocked out for now, and it's going to be Rogue moving on into our semi-finals. And speaking of Rogue, we have Evil on the line ready for an interview. So first of all, welcome to the stream, Evil. You must be absolutely exhausted. How are you feeling off of that victory?
Dude, I'm elated, I'm exhilarated, I'm hyped, I'm really tired. I'm probably going to take a nap after this, but yeah, I'm really happy about what our team has been able to do. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, you absolutely should be proud. Now, the first question I have to ask you is, do you feel like Tribe and you guys are just at the exact same level? Because looking at that series, it feels like you are the most evenly matched teams across both regions right now.
I'd say that we're pretty matched up. Yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, we're pretty matched up, but I feel like just because we're more confident, I guess. I don't know, but I'm just happy. I don't know.
All right, so game 2, the end of game 2, that Githian wall that stuns Dienzio, was that intentional? Was it prediction? Was it just getting extra damage on the Kraken? Tell us honestly, which one was it?
Honestly, prediction. I swear. I mean, well, like, okay, well, this is okay. We had a feeling that Zio was gonna he's just gonna go for it because, I mean, what else is he gonna do? Like, it was super low. Hammy had no energy, so I just thought, like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep Githing to the point where if he goes invis, I can hit him with a turret, and then I can just echo that, and that's fine. But yeah, it just happened, I guess.
Well, it was certainly a beautiful play to round out that second game. Thank you very much for joining us on the stream, and congratulations on your victory. Good luck tomorrow in your semi-finals. That is going to bring us to the end of our second semi-final. What a second quarterfinal, sorry. What a quarterfinal it was as well. 3 30-minute games, basically.